Well, looks like the black hand of white supremacy has struck yet again. You know, people throw this term around, a monolith. They know what it means. Seems that we don't want to be seen as a monolith or one big nigga for those who don't want to say it that way, for those who want to be politically correct and intellectually masturbate. When you have actions such as these that we're about to talk about here shortly, what do you think we're going to be seen as? We're definitely going to be seen as a monolith, one big nigga, one people. It seems like the only time black people are united is when they're murdering each other. I don't know. That's what it seems like. Gangsta talk up right now. Dang.
Yeah, son. There's mad kids out there getting cream for the 9 bro. Yeah, and I've been doing this for a long time. You know, shoot the game going for mine.
Alright.
And this is the year when mad caps get peeled. So I'ma spark this line, kick the reel.
Bang them out.
With all this chaos in the realms of the street, your local street dog got to make ends meet. The average Joe's far too slow for the ghetto pro. You better know, when I hit the streets, I like to glow, I like to glisten. And at the same time, stay low, listen, motherfuck the fame. I'm pursuing the dope. My stilo is symbolic to a kilo. Cash is popping, coke's cooking, beans copping. Ain't that some shit? A player that's used to living rich is now a sticky kid, caught up in a ditch. In 94, Giuliani kicked down the door. In 95, niggas flipped to stay alive. Peeling caps while I laugh. In the stats, the 4.5. Remy in the glass, spark the boom, then I blast. They wanna confine me, sneak up from behind me. Bust a cap in my back and put me where they can't find me. They hate to see a young player pay. I don't wanna see that, son. They rather see it sprayed. But I'm like Diddy, a Terminator, squeeze the lead off. Using verbs and nouns like rounds to blow your head off. Hitting up spots, heating up blocks. Investing in stocks like Colombian blow crops. I'm out to get cream and ain't no doubt in my mind. Fuck this broke shit, I'm hit, I get down for mine. I get down for mine, I get down for this. If you want to put your hands in the air, I get down for mine, I get down for this. On the regular shit, turn no fear. I get down for mine, I get down for this. If you want to put your hands in the air, I get down for mine, I get down for this. On the regular shit. I hear you wanna be a player. I ain't someplace you bet. Let's play a game of real nigga roulette. With this a DOA as I spray the melee. Contact and punctuation is compared to AKs. You in a daze, overdose for pure funk. I'm fucking off like Tommy Gibb. My karma's a boost monk. Decapitated rappers in my trunk. I'm sick, pumping skunk, bouncing with my click, popping mega jump. I'm getting back while these clowns be zigzagging. What's this talk about flipping keys? Come on, you're nickel bagging. I'm blasting off wings and making doubters believe it. You see, I was packing heaters when jokers was banging cheerleaders. Ain't nothing changed, it's still the same in the rap game. I'm known for banging rookies out the frame. Y'all done forgot who was the pimp from the start. Sipping vintage wine, eating a la carte. I'm phenomenal from the abdominal. Far from comical lyrics and sticking the brains like barnacles. Never sweet. I'm bringing the drama to the streets with techniques and rolling in fleets. Ain't nothing sweet about the streets, so I'm poetically ill. I'm pure like cook up and lyrics shine like fish scale. I got the banger at your throat and you ain't showing no signs. K-Dep, let them know I get down for mine. I get down for mine. I get down for this. If you want to put your hands in the air, I get down for mine. I get down for this. On the regular, shake the fingers, no fear. I get down for mine. I get down for this. If you want to put your hands in the air, I get down for mine. I get down for this. On the regular, shake the fingers, no fear. I get down for mine. I get down for mine. I get down for mine.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this afternoon edition of Gangsta Talk. Well, what do we have here? The black hand of white supremacy striking again. People sent me some emails asking me what is the black hand of white supremacy. Well, I'll tell you. The black hand of white supremacy is any black person that works against the interests of black people and in the interest of the dominant society or white supremacy. That is the black hand of white supremacy. I'll say it one more time. Any black person that works in the disinterest of black people and in the interest of the dominant society or white supremacy. That is the black hand of white supremacy. The new faces of white supremacy. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. You've seen the title. Have black men lost their collective minds? Before we get to the black hand of white supremacy, let's try to figure something out first. Have black men lost their collective minds? All this shit that's going on right now that you see that's happening in the black community, I'm still seeing Negroes acting as if nothing is happening. Making podcasts like it's cool, talking about black women. Are you kidding me? Do you see this cesspool that we're in right now? We're in a cesspool of despair. And you Negroes with your white girlfriends act like this doesn't affect you. It most certainly does affect you. Because when shit hits the fan, you think Becky is going to save you? No, Becky is going to give you up. You guys are stupid. You have the nerve to insult somebody else's intelligence. You guys are as dumb as a bag of rocks. You actually believe white people are going to side with you because you're having sex with one of their daughters? They don't give a. Animals have sex with their daughters. They would probably protect the animal who had sex with their daughters more than that they would protect you. Seriously, a white family would rather welcome a canine who's been having sex with one of their daughters into their family more than they would welcome you into their family. So you guys actually think that you got some kind of shield, some kind of white shield, because you're with a Becky. Becky isn't going to save you. Becky don't give a F about you. All Becky care about is your financial assets. Oh, please, and don't give me this. Well, she be with me since, when I had nothing. Really? What Becky is that? Anyway, you guys have lost your minds, man. You guys are making podcasts, cheering on a black man who's supposed to be telling off black women. Seems to be what you guys are all attracted to right now. But in the meantime, you got nutcases who happen to be black hand of white supremacy, that are murdering black people. Like it's going out of style, like it's some kind of pinball machine or some kind of game that they play on a PlayStation or the Xbox. I mean, you got these guys out here playing Grand Theft Auto, for real. Playing Doom, for real. And they out here playing Doom in real life. And every time I turn around, I see you sorry-ass Negroes making podcasts about, man, you guys are that weak. I mean, man, your weakness is making me physically sick. Unbelievable. How can you be that weak and have no shame? How can you show your face being that weak? You have any idea what's going on out here in the communities right now? Man, it's the mother effing black version of the OK Corral out here. And you, as the so-called leader of our esteemed black society that's about to be declared a menace to humanity because of the behavior of the black hand of white supremacy, you supposed to be doing something about this. White man ain't going to do anything about this. The Asian man ain't going to do anything about this. The Spanish man isn't going to do anything about this, whatever race he is, because we keep getting confused as to what race the Spanish man is. Is Spanish a race? Hispanic a race? Is Latino a race? Is Mexican a race? Is Conquistador a race? Is Bandino a race? Hombre, is that a race? Whatever race he is right now, he isn't going to do anything either. No one is going to do anything for us except the black men in our society. You don't seem to want to do anything either. I mean, the black woman is being shot at. She come to you telling you that she's being shot at, and you're like, well, shit, what you want me to do? Your kids are going crazy because they're being raised in the street like dogs. They're being programmed to kill other kids, kill black people. And you guys seem to act like you don't know what's going on. Like, hey, man, what are you talking about? I'm invested in the white communities. I'm no longer black. I just look like that. I'm an honorary white person. My woman is white. Surely, when they start shooting at the Negroes, the bullets are going to go around me. Seriously, is that what you think? You know, I'm going to put up an article here. Yeah, but before I do that, Dame, get that article ready. Before I do that, there's a brother on here named Alfonso McGriff. And shout out to Alfonso McGriff. You know, one of the things that he says is that black people are operating with the consciousness created by white people. You know, when I first heard him say that, did some heavy thinking about that. First, I was in opposition about it. Then I started to think about it when you see all of this stuff going on right now. The savage behavior. Man, you're starting to act like the whites acted way back in the day when they went around conquering the world using Christianity as an excuse to murder people. Starting to behave like that. So we're starting to behave with their consciousness. So maybe Mr. Alfonso McGriff has a powerful point. We are acting with a consciousness created by white people. We're acting like savages, just like them. We have no regard for life. You got two groups of Negroes in a park full of black people on Easter Sunday, get into an argument, and a hail of bullets gets flying around. Just busting shots like crazy. And the thing about it is they're not shooting each other. Shooting everybody else. Man, y'all can't even aim right. I mean, dang.
Yes.
You got that article?
Mm-hmm.
Throw that article up.
Okay. Fair use of this article. All right. A woman was killed, 4 children were shot, and another person was injured in a park shooting on East.
Stop right there. Another black woman was killed. 4 children were shot. Do anybody give a damn about that? Another black woman was killed, and 4 children, black children, were shot. Does anybody give a damn about that? Go ahead, Dane.
All right. An argument between 2 groups of men at an Alabama park devolved into gunfire.
Stop. Stop. An argument between 2 groups of niggas. They got a problem with each other. No regard for life. They're in a park filled with black people on Easter Sunday. Out with their kids, trying to have some kind of normalcy to their lives. Go ahead, Dane.
More than 30 shots fired, killing a woman and wounding 5 other people, including 4 children.
Stop. 2 groups of Negroes in a park filled with black people on Easter Sunday, trying to have a normal day, be with some family and kids. 2 groups of Negroes get into a dispute. And it was probably over nothing, like a pack of bubble gum or something, because these Negroes are stupid. It don't take much for them to go off. So gunfire breaks out, more than 30 shots. At the end of the day, nobody from their group is injured. And they're still looking for the shooter. There were multiple shooters. So the 2 groups of Negroes who had a dispute, they're not even shooting each other. They're shooting other people. So when it was all said and done, after all of the shots are fired, a black woman is dead, and 4 children are fighting for their lives. Go ahead, Dane.
The chaos started around 7 p.m. Sunday at Peyton Park in Birmingham. At the time the shooting occurred, hundreds of people were gathered at the park celebrating Easter holiday when gunfire...
Stop. At the time of the shooting, hundreds of people were at the park celebrating Easter. Now, we're in Birmingham. Hundreds of Negroes are in the park celebrating Easter Sunday, hundreds. And these 2 groups of Negroes thought it was okay to kill somebody and shoot as many people as they can before they got away. Now you see this behavior right here is going to make us be declared as a menace. Dane, look up the word menace. Give me the definition of the word menace.
Menace. A person or thing that is likely to cause harm, a threat or danger.
A person or thing that is likely to cause harm, threat, or danger. Isn't that what we just described by these 2 groups of Negroes? Opening fire around hundreds of black people, not giving a damn about who they shoot. Are they not menaces?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they're menaces to our society. But you see, the dominant society is going to carry it further.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to declare our race as a menace, period. And with this kind of behavior, it's going to make it easy for them to make a choice like that. I mean, how would you feel you're being a coon and one day you wake up and your coonery don't work anymore because you've been declared a menace to humanity? And I can see you coons now. Master, it wasn't me, Master. Master, I was licking your boots when all of this happened, remember? It's me, Wilbur. Master Wilbur. I licked them boots good. No, don't shoot me, Master. I'm your favorite coon, Wilbur. Nah, Wilbur. I'm sorry, Wilbur. You've been a nice pet, but you've been declared a menace to society. I'm going to have to get rid of you. Imagine waking up and that's what your reality is because of Negroes like this. The black hand of white supremacy is becoming more and more problematic. More and more problematic. And we're worried about being a monolith. You know, you guys throw that word around, you know, that phrase, monolith. Well, black people aren't a monolith. Well, this keeps up. Going to be a monolith. You know, because some of you don't want to just say, we're all just one big nigger. I understand you don't want to say that for whatever reason. A lot of you intellectual masturbators won't allow yourselves to say that. But it's true. And this kind of behavior is going to add to that one big Negro image. I mean, think about this. You got some fools in the middle of hundreds of people and just break out in gunfire, shooting in all directions, killing and shooting unarmed people. People who are there to have good times with their families. You don't think that's a menace? You don't think that's absolutely dangerous? You don't think that those people are crazy and shouldn't be walking around amongst regular people? And what Negro's doing about it? You got to do something about this. So you guys don't want to face the fact that this is your fault. You don't want to face the fact that this is your mess to clean up. Nobody else is going to clean it up. This is your mess to clean up. I don't hear nothing about, you know, they turned our minds upside down 450 years ago, and they did all of this during slavery. That was a long time ago. There's nothing stopping you from doing what you're doing right now, except you. You Negroes are going out there and you're killing each other because you've developed that mentality on your own because you think it's cool to be a gangster. You think it's cool to be feared and to be some kind of trifling nigger in the street. You don't have to be that way. You're that way because you want to be. No one is making you act like a gangster, but you. There's no white man out here making you act like a gangster. There's no white man out here making you act like a pimp. Slavery isn't making you act like a gangster. Slavery isn't making you act like a pimp. Slavery isn't stopping you from being a better person. You're doing that on your own. You Negroes want to get out here and be trifling menaces. That's a choice that you've made because you don't have any guidance, many of you, and you don't want to be anything in life but a menace. Go on mute, please. You don't want to do anything but be a menace. And you want to take as many people with you as possible. As seen with your behavior, your reckless behavior. You guys have no compassion. You have no regard for life, no matter what age the life is. As you can see, children are being shot. Children are being killed. Our women are being shot. Our women are being killed. For those talking about, well, Max, all you do is talk about the women. No, I'm talking about you Negroes right now, because this is your fault. And you're supposed to be doing something about this. You need to get out here in these streets and put an end to this black hand and white supremacy shit. This is your fault. You've allowed this to develop under your watch. Because many of these trifling Negroes are the kids that you didn't raise. Many of these trifling Negroes with this savage mentality and this disregard for life are the children you didn't bother to raise. They don't have any guidance. They don't have any respect for authority. They don't have any respect for anything, not even themselves. Think about it. They don't even think properly. Who the hell gets into a group of people and says, well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just fucking light this place up. I don't like what you said to me. I don't like the fact that you told me I was wearing a pink dress. So what if I'm wearing a pink dress and high heels? Fuck you. Matter of fact, let's light this place up. So you got a couple of Negroes, so you got two groups of Negroes who get into an argument about being effeminate and just start shooting the place up. Not giving a damn about who catch a bullet. Who would want that in their society? Who wants to live like that? You can't send your children anywhere. You can't gather anywhere with your families. You can't do anything normal as like go to the store and maybe, I don't know, purchase a bottle of orange juice and walk down the street and drink a cold thing of orange juice without getting shot at, without getting hit by some straight bullet because some fool don't give a F about anybody else's life. What kind of life is that? I mean, how are we living? Y'all guys sit up and act like ain't nothing going on. They are destroying normal life in the black community. We can't even live normally anymore. Does anybody understand that? You got Negroes making podcasts about black women and who they can date and who they can't date. That seems to be the top priority, not the fact that normal life in our community is being destroyed. It's getting to the point where you can't do normal routine things without having to walk out in the street or drive around clothed in freaking body armor. Understand something. The cookout days are coming to an end. The gathering days are where we gathered in the park, had some drink, maybe cook some food. That's coming to an end. It's going to get to the point where we're going to be quarantined and not be allowed to go anywhere and not be allowed to gather at all. You already know that they're gunning for us. I don't want to hear nothing about, well, other people do it too. Other people are not under the same scrutiny as us. They don't have it out for other people like they have it out for us. And we are giving them every excuse. Every excuse. You got Negroes who don't want to take care of their kids, leaving the women on the system, drawing from the government, Got the government after your ass to pay child support because you don't want to take care of your own kids. And because you don't want to raise your own kids, the black woman is overwhelmed. And so some of these kids, they get caught in the cracks. They're being raised in the street and they turn into crazy ass Negroes like these two groups of Negroes here who open fire in the middle of hundreds of black people gathered on Easter Sunday. And it's going to get to the point where we won't be able to go anywhere.
That's right, Twin Squad. Truth speak. And as usual, when we get to the good point, networks start acting up.
Am I
Yeah.
coming through?
Coming through now. Okay. All right, you back?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay, I'm back. And yeah, so what's going to happen is you're going to do podcasts about, I remember when we used to be able to chill out at the park. And you're not going to tell the real reason of why we can't chill out at the park anymore. What you're going to do is blame the black woman for it. Yeah. The reason why we can't chill at the park anymore is because the black woman has an attitude. The reason why we can't chill at the park anymore is because the black woman is the least desired. The reason we can't chill at the park anymore is because black women are trying to date above their social status. The reason why we can't chill at the park anymore is because black women are really sixes and fives, but they think they're 8 and 9s. And then you're going to have big podcasts about it, 8, 9 Negroes on a panel, and you're going to invite a sister up there and jump on her and blame her for the reason we can no longer gather in a group. And you're not going to tell the truth about the fact that you've allowed a lot of your children to become animals and that they've turned into savages and that they've turned on their people and that they're being used by white supremacy to destroy black people from within. You're not going to tell that truth. What you're going to do is you're going to blame the black woman because you Negroes are weak and cowardly and lousy, effeminate, and you're sellouts. Pretending that you don't see what's going on in our community. Like having a Becky in your life somehow separates you from what's going on. It doesn't. Because at the end of the day, the Becky sees you the same as those Negroes shooting in the park. Like I said, if your Becky was having a love affair with a dog, a white family would rather welcome the dog into their family than to welcome you. You niggas are too stupid to realize that. You actually think you got something of value. Meantime, our women are being shot, is being shot like it's a goddamn video game. I don't see anybody doing podcasts about it. People keep making excuses. Oh, it's depressing. No, It's not depressing. It's the truth. It's reality. It's what's going on in real time, and something has to be done about it. We don't get to say we don't want to talk about it because it's depressing. We got to talk about it because something has to be done about it. And these big channels, these big black channels with the loudest voices won't touch this kind of stuff. Why not? Why? Our lives aren't important anymore. Our lives don't mean anything anymore. The lives of our children don't mean anything anymore. Why won't the big channels touch this? Why won't they talk about this? Why are they talking about bullshit? Like who the black woman is dating and who she can and cannot date. What about these children who are being shot by these maniacs who have black skin? These lunatics that open up fire in the midst of hundreds of black people with no regard for life, no regard for human life. I know why you motherfuckers don't want to talk about it. Because it's your fault that this shit is happening. You Negroes don't never want to take any responsibility. So you're always blaming a black woman for something. Because you're incapable of dealing with this shit that you've allowed to develop on your watch. You're too cowardly to get out here in the street and curtail these young boys and reel them in. You're afraid of them. They become too vicious because they have no guidance and they have no respect for you. They're as likely to kill you as anyone else. And that's your fault. See, if you were in their lives and you were raising them, they wouldn't be out of their goddamn minds. They wouldn't be savages. They wouldn't be animals. They wouldn't be running around here with no compassion in their heart. Kind of person in their right mind opens fire, shooting blindly in the midst of hundreds of people. Not giving a damn who gets shot. And not even shooting each other. At least the best y'all could, at least y'all could have shot each other. Can't even do that. Sick of this, man. If this continues, we're going to be declared at some point, our entire race is going to be declared a menace to humanity. Y'all think y'all sitting up here think I'm reaching, I'm overreaching, I'm bugging. Let this shit keep happening. I'm trying to explain it to you right now. These niggers out here don't have any regard for life. That's going to permeate everywhere. People are going to see that they have no regard for life. Other races of people are going to see it. They have no regard for life. And that monolith, you keep saying that we're not. That one big nigga that we're being categorized as, it's going to prove to be our undoing. Simply because we have black men in this society that are too cowardly to do what they're supposed to do as leaders and as fathers And that's black men. Now these sorry Negroes jump on gossip panels with women and gossip and cackle like hens. Men. And I mean all into it. Girl, bye. Girl, this. Girl, you know it, girl. That bitch, this. These are men talking like that. Black men. Talking like black women. Jumping on gossip panels. When you should be out here reestablishing the leadership in these communities and getting a hold on these young boys and straightening out this community and putting a stop to this shit. Nobody's going to do it for you. So I guess y'all just saying, fuck it. If we're relying on you sorry ass niggas, we may as well give it up now. Is that what you're saying? Seems like that's what you motherfuckers are saying with your behavior. Fuck it. We may as well give it up now. We may as well lay down now. But let a black woman do something. And all you niggas that make podcasts about it. A black woman can come out here and say she just broke up with her nigga because he didn't have enough money for her. And all you niggas that make a damn podcast about it. And I mean 8-9 hour streams too. It'll be 40 of you niggas on one panel. Did she just say that she broke up with her man because he didn't have enough money? See, that's what's wrong with black women now. They gold diggers. Sitting up there sound like a panel full of lesbians. They gold diggers. Who she thinks she is? That man was working hard. That man making money. He didn't make enough money for her. Why was she with him? Sitting up there gossiping. When we got children being murdered in these streets by other children. Man, some of these kids are running around here with AK-47s. The fuck is a 14-year-old doing with a goddamn AR-15 in our community? Shooting at people. It's going to get to the point now to where you won't be able to go to the mall. You won't be able to go somewhere 7-Eleven. Hell, probably won't even go to get gas in your goddamn car. Some of you may as well stop making goddamn car payments and let them come take it, because it's going to get to the point where you ain't going to be able to drive it no damn where. Unless you purchase a suit of body armor. I'm telling you, they turning this shit into a real live video game. A game of Doom, a game of Grand Theft Auto. You're running around here mindlessly shooting people. For the sake of being gangster. Nobody is making you be a. I don't want to hear shit about, well, the white man is the reason why I'm a gangster. No, he's not. You're the reason why you're a gangster. Or a wannabe gangster. You're the reason why you're a failure in society, and you chose a cowardly way out by shooting and murdering your own people and stealing from your own people and putting the lives of your own people in jeopardy. That's what you chose to do. Nobody made you do that. You chose that life. And all this lie about, well, the gangs are all we have. Gangs aren't all we have. That's a bullshit lie too. You Negroes just want to make an excuse for being irresponsible and not getting your mind right. They're doing what you're supposed to do. You're afraid to put some muscle into what you got to do. You got to work hard out here to get yours. You don't want to do that. You want to take the cowardly lazy man way out by robbing people, making your streets unsafe. Your children can't even go to school. Your mother can't walk down the street. Because you niggas done turned the goddamn streets into a freaking wasteland. Shit, if you go from one corner to the other goddamn corner on a fucking any given block, it's like being in the goddamn fucking apocalypse. And what you Negroes in the hood doing, man? What are you so-called strong brothers with the, where are these boots on the ground I keep hearing about? You motherfuckers want to get up here and run your goddamn mouth to, but you got boots on the ground. Where are them boots now? And what ground are these boots on? Because surely they ain't on the grounds where these fucking maniacs are shooting women and children. So where are these goddamn boots at? Oh, I got boots on the ground. Where? You got boots on the ground on YouTube? Where are these boots on the ground I keep hearing about? I don't understand this, man. I come out of the 60s and the 70s, the 80s. Black people cared about each other. Black people gave a damn about each other back then. You would have told me back in 89 or something that it'd get to the point where Black people will have no regard for life, not even give a damn about their children. First of all, Black people cared the most about their children. When I was growing up, you couldn't put your hands on somebody's child. You couldn't say something crazy to somebody's child. They peel your goddamn cap. Children were protected. Children were coveted. They were guarded heavily. Now they're being shot. They're being shot like fucking target dummies. They're being shot like the goddamn fucking dummies that be up in the goddamn shooting range. And where's the pushback? Where are the videos? Where's the concern? You motherfuckers concerned so goddamn much about who the hell a Black woman is dating. Why aren't you concerned about this? Why aren't you concerned about this? Why our children don't matter to you? They're supposed to matter the most to us. Our women and children are supposed to matter the most to us. They are the lifeblood of our race. And you don't care anything about them? How are we supposed to go on without our women and children? Are you niggas nuts? What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Four children being shot. I tell you what, I bet you if a Black woman had shot those four children, you Negroes would be on social media so fucking hard, you would break YouTube. You wouldn't be able to keep up with the podcast. They'll be going live every 2 seconds. You will overflow the band. You will break YouTube. If those two groups of Negroes were women, and they broke out and shot people like that, you Negroes would be all up and down. Once you break YouTube, you'll go break Twitter. Once you break Twitter, you'll go break Facebook. Once you break Facebook, you'll break Instagram. Once you out of social media, you'll create one and break that motherfucker too. If those were black women who did that. But because they Negroes, because they black men, you guys act like you don't want to have nothing to do with this. You want to pretend like it ain't even happening. Because you know it's your fault. You don't want to face the truth about your failure as a leader in these communities. This ain't on nobody but you. You can't put this off on nobody. I'm a black man. I know who fault it is. You ain't gonna tell me nothing different. You're not gonna sit in my face and tell me it's the black woman's nothing. This is your fault. And you need to do something about it before you condemn us all. Before you get us all condemned. You need to do something about this shit. This is your motherfucking problem. Ain't nobody gonna fix this but you. Hope you don't think being with Becky gonna fix this. That's just gonna make it worse. White men ain't gonna fix this. No other race of man is going to fix this but you, because no other race of man gives a damn about what's going on with you and your. All they give a fuck about is theirs. That's the way you should be. You should be caring about your own. And you don't even give a damn about your own. And how the hell do you think that looks to the rest of the world? The rest of the world is watching this shit. They watching how you don't give a damn about your own people, not even your own children. So what makes you think they're going to show your children any love? You don't show them no love. You obviously don't love them. You trying to kill them along with everybody else. So what makes you think that other people are going to show your children love, or show your children any kind of leniency, or show your children any kind of benefit of the doubt, or not see your children as young little menaces in the making? See, because every time the black hand of white supremacy strikes with these mindless Negroes, the children also take a hit, not only physically by the hand of these Negroes, but by the image as well. Because remember, we are seen as one big Negro. Even though you guys are trying to get away from that, talking about we're not a monolith and all this other crap, right? We're still seen as one big Negro. So the black hand of white supremacy, when they strike, the kids take a double hit. They're being murdered by these mindless Negroes, and they're going to be murdered by other people who are not black, because they don't see the Negroes who are murdering the children any different than the children that they're murdering. To them, it's all the same thing. They see one menace. So when they see our children, they see a young menace. That's what they see. They're not going to differentiate. They're not going to separate or any of that shit. So if you behave like a menace, guess what? Your children get that image as well. Because all they're going to do is see your children as younger versions of you. So if you out here blowing away people with no fucking regard for life and making it absolutely dangerous for human beings to even do something that's normal as get together and have some kind of family outing, they're going to see your children as younger versions of you. They're not going to see our children any sympathy or any love. They're going to see a young version of the motherfuckers who pulled out those guns and opened fire in the midst of 100 black people who were trying to enjoy their Easter Sunday. That's what they're going to see. So the kids are getting it the worst. They're getting murdered by these maniacs, and then non-black people don't see the children any different than the maniacs who are doing the murder. So I'm gonna ask you one more time: have black men lost their collective minds? And with that being said, let me bring in my co-host, Dane. Come on in here.
All right.
I'm at the end of my rant. Tell me what you're thinking. Throw the link in the chat.
Okay.
Gangsta link getting ready to come out, y'all. And I want somebody to come up here and tell me something different. Tell me that I'm talking crazy. Because at this point, I would welcome the fact that I'm wrong. Because I see this shit happening. Go ahead, Dane.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's the same consistent pattern over and over again. Two groups of men, they can't stand each other, they mad at each other, they got beef with each other, they go firing at each other, hit everybody in the surrounding area but them. But whoever they aiming for. Not caring who's around, um, you know, can't hold themselves together for a later time. Say, okay, me and you by itself. Can't even do the okay corral, quick draw where everybody get a chance to get away. They know the shootout is gonna be at 12, so they get out of Dodge.
I mean, you know what? The thing about it is, what you don't understand, guys and people are just blowing this shit off. You know, I'm telling you right now, the children that they're murdering, they're doing a double disservice to. Not only are they taking these children's lives, but they are ruining the image of these children. Because by non-black people, these children are only going to be seen as younger versions of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you got reckless Negroes running around here shooting at people like it's a goddamn video game. Non-black people are going to see the children the same way. They're just going to see them as younger versions of these lunatics. Menaces in the making.
Hey, Max, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Who's that?
Renaissance Man 208.
Renaissance, what's going on, bro? How you doing, brother?
Hey,
Glad you can make it.
Yeah, I saw you were live. Like I said, I wanted to come up and sounds like I missed all that you. I mean, was there a specific event that's I've literally listened to probably the past 2 minutes? Is there literally a specific event you're talking about, or are you just talking about general dysfunction in the community?
Yeah, general dysfunction and plus a pattern that I call the black end of white supremacy of mindless Negroes doing these open shootings amongst people with no regard for life, and children are being shot, women are being murdered, children are being murdered. And I'm saying that they're doing the children even a double disservice, because when you do stuff like that around normal people and you get declared a menace, non-black people aren't going to see a difference between them and the children. They're just going to see the children as younger versions of them.
Yeah. I'm kind of split on this in the sense of I agree with the whole issue of, I mean, in my opinion, there's really no community. Because a community would have put an end to this a long time ago.
Yes.
That just would have happened. I mean, I'm not one of those people who think. I tend to think that communities tend to be the greatest buffer between crime and dysfunction and all these other things. You know, a lot of people have the mentality of you know, you want to make black communities safer, you need more police. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, nah, the community itself really is going to have to purge its own, and the
Yes.
police will be more of uh, an asset to help in that. But they're not going
Mm-hmm.
to be able to. That at best you'll get a deterrent from police at best.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly believe it. I mean, I from what I gather, you're older. I think you said on RBR's panel you used to be
Mm-hmm.
with the Panthers.
No. I grew up in that era. Come
Grew
out
up
of that
in
era.
come out of
Yeah.
that era.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I always heard people talk about, how, they do something wrong or something, and essentially by the time they got home, their parents already knew about it.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And that was the function of community policing and protecting itself.
Yes.
You don't have that anymore. I think another thing you see in a lot of these communities is you see a lack of men.
Yeah.
You may have a lot of boys in the sense of men who are boys in men's bodies, but
Mm-hmm.
the lack of I mean, and that's what I tend to see in a lot of these areas. Because I mean, I live in DC right now. I've lived in places like Atlanta, so I've seen I've seen black suburban areas that are nice, upkept, safe, all of that. So I'm not one of those people who just thinks every black community is going to be poor, run down, or something like that. It doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I do see, when I see the antisocial behavior you're describing, it tends to be in those areas where there are very few men. The family structure is broken, and it just leads to that. I mean, because I take it from this perspective: any working man who owns property in a neighborhood is not going to settle or tolerate, teenagers going out there and just destroying the neighborhood like that.
That's right.
It's
That's
just
right.
not happening. You get up and you go to work every day and you grind and you deal with BS. You're not gonna come home and let people be running amok in the neighborhood. It's just not happening.
That's right. You see, the fathers, when I grew up, the fathers were the police in the neighborhood. Okay, all of the fathers in the neighborhood, they guarded the neighborhood. I like to say, when I grew up, all of the fathers and mothers on my block were my mother and father. All of them could tell me what to do. All of them could make me go home. All of them could whoop my ass. All of the mothers and fathers, they worked with each other like a unit. Okay, they all cared about each other's kids. They all watched over each other's kids in the community, and that provided maximum protection. I learned the respect from authority from my father. He was the first laws that I had to learn to obey. So the fathers were the police of the community. If you broke the rules of the father, okay, in the community, that was your ass. Okay, and so that is still with me today. I still have that strong and refined respect for authority because of my father. The father is, if you don't understand, the father is so important. Without the father, man, everything comes crumbling down. Everything. The woman can't hold this stuff up. She don't have the broad shoulders. She's not built for this. The man is built for this.
The interact. I mean, men, when they have to deal and be accountable to other men, it's a different dynamic. It's like,
Right.
if you're dating a girl and she wants to meet your father, or her father, that, hey, this
Mm-hmm.
guy's gonna really, he's gonna
That's
press
right.
me. He's gonna see what I'm really
Mm-hmm.
about, and he's gonna let you know,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you're not gonna just, be running,
Right.
do my daughter any kind of way.
When I'm,
But yeah, go ahead.
that's how I married my wife. I had to go face her parents. I had to face her parents. I had to sit down with her father and mother in order to get their approval to be with their daughter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what I was discussing with RBR's panel, I know we had a discussion back and forth when you were saying, what can black people do? The only point I was trying to make was that, when you look at a lot of, I'm firmly a believer that men, and if you're talking about a family structure like what we're describing, men are going to have to be employable. Men are going to have to be able to provide and lead, and that's always been a problem for black men in this country. A lot of it due to racism, lack of access to quality education, all of these things. So the only thing I was trying to say then is that, I hear a lot of rhetoric from people who will say, we can do without the government, or we need to do for ourselves, and they'll use that as a means or an excuse to be politically disengaged. And the only thing
Well,
I'm saying in that is hey, government is going to shape policies, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, that are going to affect your lives. I'm not saying people can't or shouldn't take initiative. It's just people just can't be disengaged, because that's part of the problem, in my opinion.
when they say that we don't need the government, I would believe that if this was the 70s, because back then, black people, especially black men were very resourceful. Black men could build. My father and his friends, they can build anything, man. There was nothing that they couldn't build. I mean, they can fix cars, they can build engines, they can build houses.
Yeah,
Okay? Right.
I'm assuming you're you're not a boomer, are you? Or you're Gen Xer?
No, Gen Xer.
Okay. I'm a millennial. I'm only 31, but I have uncles who, I have uncles who have those similar skill sets. Granted, I'm
Right.
from, I'm from the South. I'm from Alabama originally, but
This happened in your neck of the wood. This happened in Birmingham.
what happened specifically?
Dame, throw up the article real quick for Renaissance, real quick.
Yeah,
Bring him up to speed.
Okay.
Get you up to speed. Because this happened in Birmingham.
Oh, this is one of those
On
shootings
Easter
on
Sunday.
Easter. Oh, wow.
Yeah. One woman was killed. 4 children was shot. Another adult was shot. Over 30 rounds shot in a park. Are you familiar with the park they're talking about down there in Birmingham?
I'm not. I'm actually, I grew up in Montgomery. So
Okay,
about 2
okay,
hours
Montgomery.
from Birmingham. But
Okay,
I know people who live in Birmingham. So
Right. And what bothers me about this shooting, right? These were black people who would gather on Easter Sunday to be with their families, okay, and try to have some normalcy. And this kind of stuff breaks out. They don't understand what this looks like in the grand scheme of things. This affects all of us, not just them. Okay, non-black people see us all as one Negro.
that's
and
very
this
true.
affects all of us. We got to do something about this.
Now, the one thing I kind of disagree on is the sense of,
Mhm.
I do agree that they see us all as one, but I come at it from, I take it as you're making more of a respectability type of argument, which I take more respectability politics from the standpoint of, if you're going to have a black community that's worth having, you have to have respectability politics. Some people take respectability politics to mean we have to be seen in a certain light amongst non-black people in order for us to be successful. I kind of don't believe that, because I look at history and I see how, you've had black people who have done well and it made them a target. Specifically to the white society. I can't speak as much for Asians as Hispanics, but that made them a target, and that built a lot of resentment. So I hear where you're coming from, and it will have effects, but for me, I take it more as, this is a problem because it affects the community, and it hurts black people's ability to build safe and sustainable communities. Because nobody's going to want to live in an environment where something like that can happen.
Yes.
No man's going to want to raise his family in that environment.
Exactly. And you see, my whole thing is to share. You see, like I said, back in the 70s, we weren't afraid to defend ourselves. We put hands on white folks. If you're not willing to do that today, if you're not willing to defend yourself, then you have to be concerned about who's in power. And you got to be concerned with how they see you and what category that they're going to put you in, because they got the power to carry out anything that they deem fit. So if you're not going to fight back, if you're going to lay down like most Negroes are doing, then man, you better do something about the way you're behaving.
Yeah.
Before you bring it down on all of us.
Yeah, no, and you are right. People will use this to sort of dehumanize people as a whole and say, oh, well, Malcolm X talked about things like that. He talked about basically, one person is painted as criminal, and then the whole community is painted
Yes.
in that criminal element. So yeah, people will use instances like that to dehumanize you and discriminate and use it to pass even worse policies that harm you.
The only place that I see where stuff like this is completely out of control that I know of is Mexico, because Mexico is basically ruled by the cartels, right?
Yeah.
But you know, other races in other countries I've been to, the men, like you said, the working men in that community, they won't allow this. They won't allow this. You don't see this going on in the Chinese community or even the Spanish community. You don't see this going on.
Yeah, the only place I could maybe think of is maybe you see something like this in Brazil too, but in certain pockets like the favelas or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Where the gangsters have control.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But like you said, any working man, any men who are working in their community, they're not going to allow this. You know, they're going to pull their boys in. They're going to deal with their boys. Not going to allow these boys, because a lot of these dudes are young, man, that are doing this. A lot of these guys are 20 years old, 18, 13, 14. We were just reading an article about a kid who was 10 years old that carrying around a AK-47.
Yeah, that's completely on parents. That's just completely lack of supervision of your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Right. And so now we're at the point now, right? How do we fix this, right? It has to be a team effort between black men and black women, right? No, I think that it has to be an effort on one side, because there's no black woman fixing this. This needs might. This needs brawn as well as intelligence. This needs a lot of brawn. A lot of brawn. We already know what needs to be done. We just got to have the brawn and the might to back it up. I mean, it's not a whole lot of thinking that we need to be. It's not a whole lot of thinking that need to be had here.
Yeah, I mean, I can get on. I mean, me personally, I've always thought kind of what you're thinking in the sense of, you know, all things are, when you look at a community, in my mind, you know, it may be controversial, but I think a lot of things are a reflection of the men. Like, to me, at the end of the day, you can sort of, you know, have this back and forth, but to me, it kind of starts with the men. You know, if men decided collectively that, hey, I want this type of structure, you know, I don't see very little stopping them. If they're truly committed to it and working together and put ego aside, you know, I tend to think that will happen, and women will kind of just fall in line and follow along. You know, that's just how I generally see it.
I'm glad you said that, because that's our problem right there in the nutshell. We have entirely too many men who are pointing fingers elsewhere, rather than taking a look at themselves and saying, hey, you know what? We need to get our heads together and we need to figure out how we're going to deal with this. Because that's what the men used to do back in my day. If there was a problem, they would get together and figure out how to solve it. Today, we got too many men, and they have a large following, too, of other men who think the same way. So you got groups of men, 800 to 1,000, in some cases, 30,000, I've seen, all thinking the same way, that it's somebody else's fault. That's a large group of men who don't want to do anything, or who aren't going to do anything in the community because they think it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah, I listened to your video yesterday talking about and I came up, I was talking about essentially the dating coaches.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I discussed it with Frankie, but I you know, my whole thing was a lot of the arguments that I hear, I don't take them seriously. I don't really follow them like that, just because as I was telling her, I can't take a man who's, you know, in his 40s and 50s, you know, showing his face on YouTube, saying, you know, he's a dating coach. To me, you know, I mean, I know where I am in my life at 31, you know. And you know, I know men who are obviously older, and I'm just like, what man who's 40, 45, you know, is relatively successful, you know, doing something with his life, is going to take another man seriously who says, I'm a dating coach on YouTube? It's
surprised.
No, I mean, I'm talking more in real life. Like, if you bumped into a man and he said, you know, he's 45 and he's doing, you know, and he says, you know, I'm a dating coach on YouTube. It's just kind of like, Okay. Like that's your profession. Okay. Like it's just hard to take serious. So when I hear guys doing that, I'm like, these guys can't be people who are super duper successful like that. It's hard
no.
to believe. It sounds like someone who probably didn't have much going for him or was kind of desperate who have jumped on YouTube as a means to make money.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be the famous guy. You see, this is the problem I have with stuff like that, right? When you look at the heroes of yesteryear, the freedom fighters, the Dr. Kings, the Medgar Evers, the Thurgood Marshalls, the X's, right? Where are the freedom fighters today to take up the mantle? Who do we have today that's like that or approaching that status? Well, we have men who are known for disrespecting women. We have men who say that they're dating coaches. We got guys talking about being pimps. We got people reading MacBooks. And we got guys generally overall, right, making podcasts about what they don't like about black women. That's what we have today. We don't have any new exes. We don't have any new Dr. King. We don't have nobody. Except for maybe Dr. Claude Anderson.
I will. Some people that come to mind, but they're not out there like that. Is someone like I don't know if you know who Jeffrey Canada is.
No, I haven't heard of him.
Okay, have you ever heard of Harlem Children's Zone?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the founder of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's essentially the brains behind coming up with an idea like that, getting the funding, getting that going. He's doing that, and I don't know if you know who Dr. Steve Perry is.
No.
Same kind of concepts. Educator, opened a school, I believe, in Connecticut, where basically, they send 100% of the black students to college. 100%. Yeah.
Well, these are the people that we need to be out in the front.
Yeah.
We need these people out in front.
Yeah. Steve Perry used to come on. He used to be a CNN contributor, so he's been big on educational reform. And I've seen Jeffrey Canada on places like TED Talks or something like that. But those guys, like I said, they get some shine and publicity, but they don't get what they need because they're truly doing the Lord's work, you could say, in the community. While you said, you have other guys who unfortunately are doing everything to contribute to tearing down the community. You can argue people have principles. I look at someone like like a Dave Chappelle. I don't agree with everything he's done, but the fact that that brother literally walked away from $40 million because of the show and what it was putting out, and he felt like it was doing more to reinforce stereotypes. That's unheard of for someone to walk away from like that. But he did that. But the sad part is he's one of the few in our community who would. There are so many others who would do more damage than what he felt like he was doing for much less money. So part of it, I think, goes to principles.
Well, with the murders that are happening every single day now, and they seem to be ramping up, we got to do something quick. We're losing our children. We're losing mothers. It's to the point now to where normalcy is dangerous. It's getting to the point where it's dangerous just to go outside and do something as simple as drive to the 7-Eleven.
If you don't mind me asking, what area of the country are you in?
Oh, I live in Virginia.
Okay. Like Northern Virginia or just like in the state?
Well, I live
basically not the DC Metro, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay.
I live kind of I live in the Bay. I live like by Chesapeake.
Okay.
Chesapeake.
Okay, gotcha.
That's like a military area where I live at. The military is down there. The Navy is down there.
Oh, okay. I know where you're at in the general area. I got an idea.
Yeah. And man, I tell you, man, it's even around where I live at, it's getting crazy, man. Especially Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach for the last month or so.
Oh yeah,
that's insane.
That's where someone famous got killed. It was a girl. I can't remember who it was.
Yes, the actress.
Yeah, I can't remember what
Yeah,
she was, but I saw that
right.
on the news.
Now check this out. It's the same pattern that you've seen that happen in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama. Two groups of Negroes got together, got into an argument, and started shooting everybody but each other. And she got caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, yeah. I was Atlanta's kind of been the same way too. I don't know if it's just like the COVID and people are just been pent up inside or what, but I have a feeling. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Just with like going into the summer and I already saw a thing of how the black unemployment rate is lower. I'm sorry, it's higher and it's slow to recover, like kind of like always.
Well, we got 1.7 million jobs presumably on the way. 1.7 million jobs by this $10 billion that's supposed to be behind these black women pledged by Goldman Sachs.
Oh,
Supposed to
okay.
create 1.7 million jobs.
Oh, really? Okay. I figure a big opportunity is if they can get it passed is the infrastructure.
You gotta be able to build it though. We can't have okay, for example, right? We don't have enough black men with trade skills. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be an intellectual. We need trade skills. Because if you don't have any trade skills, then you're at the mercy of other people.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, you have to be able to build your own communities.
Yeah, the hope I would have is if demand gets bad enough, because I know the construction market kind of got tight, and I don't know if it even really recovered from 2008. The hope that I would give is that they put some apprenticeships out there.
Well, what I want to
where
see
guys
happen
can do
again,
on the job type of apprentice work. You know what I'm
what I want
saying?
to, right? What I want to see happen again, and for a longer period of time, I think we all need to go back into quarantine.
Oh,
Whoa, what
really?
the hell? Somebody just started a fire out here. Are you? Oh, that's a car on fire. Ah, man, I can't stop to help him either. Ah, man. Yo, man, car just ran off the road and burst in flames.
Oh, you're driving?
Yeah. Yeah, I drive, I'm a truck driver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty soon I'm going to put the cam in my truck. I'm going to put the cam in my truck pretty soon. Okay, well, people
like
are
a
pulling over
GoPro.
trying to help. Yeah. Yeah, people are pulling over with fire extinguishers. They're trying to help. Yeah, he just burst into flames, man.
Oh, that's crazy. It just driving and it burst into flames?
Yeah, it just burst into flames. He just ran off the road, just burst into flames.
That's crazy.
Shoot, I only
Yeah,
seen
Miss
that
Poundy,
happen one
get
time.
that same issue.
Ooh.
But yeah, but you know what I want to see? And for this time, and the reason why I say that is because when we went into quarantine and our movements were restricted, black men got out in their communities and started building and fixing shit. And they brought their sons out there with them. Yeah. And they brought their sons out there with them and was teaching their sons. Ask Dame, she'll tell you. Hey, Dame, what was going on in your neighborhood when we got quarantined?
The men were home, and after the first week of rest, I saw men all over the community. Father and son pulling out the tools and fixing the fence, fixing along the house, fixing roofs, family houses that needed to be torn down, family property that needed to be worked on, being worked on. It's like every week I was seeing different parts of the neighborhood where men were out there doing, starting with their family, moving on to like their parents, grandparents.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing to see because I saw it too. I actually saw fathers teaching their sons.
Mm-hmm.
Their sons was either sitting on stoops and the father was standing in front of them teaching them, showing them things. It was a beautiful thing to see. They were teaching their sons. That's what we need.
So like, what do y'all think stopped that from occurring outside of, were people just like too tired when they come home from work, or like just like other priorities? Like,
well, to make money to feed the families, some of the men are working either jobs where they're working like 16 hours at a stretch, or
Yeah.
they're working multiple jobs, or they working offshore where they gone for like maybe a month on, 2 weeks off at the least. I've seen some where they 3 months on and 3 months off.
Oh,
But
so
at this time, there was a whole stretcher of men that work in these certain areas that they hadn't been let go right away. You know, they were still out there working. And then it's
I'll
like
be
when
right
they
back,
got
y'all. I'll be right
home,
back, y'all.
yeah. So I've seen these men like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. You know, we knew certain times of the day, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, they stop at the local store, get their beer, or they run into the grocery store because the wife said, stop to get this on your way coming in or whatever. So I'm used to seeing them like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening in the store. So imagine my surprise. I'm in the stores because I'm bringing relatives and neighbors to the stores over in the afternoon. I'm like, after a while, you know the men in your community by sight, if not by name and everything else. I'm like, what are you doing here? You off today? They said, oh yeah, my company finally released us for quarantine on COVID. I said, well, I see you got all the kids. He said, oh yeah, I'm giving my wife a break. She's been stuck with them all week, so they're coming with me while we go shopping for stuff for the house and my parents' house. And then as I'm driving around the communities, I'm going to this relative house, that relative house, this neighbor house, this church member's house. I'm in different sectors of my community. And, I'm going down the street and I see the father and son. The son is holding the tools and the father showing him how to do this, or he's holding part of the fencing and his father is doing it. Or when I come around the next minute, the father's holding the fence and the son is using the hammer.
Hold
I'm
on a
like,
minute. Dang, hold on a minute. Quick announcement. All right,
okay.
y'all. For that car that went off the road and burst into flames, that happened in North Carolina on Interstate 85 South between mile marker 187 and 189. So if y'all familiar with the area or if you know anybody in that area, check and see if it's your loved one or something like that. Again, that's North Carolina, Interstate 85 South, mile marker 187 to 189. All right, go ahead, y'all.
Okay. And then a few days later, same area, but like across the street or at the corner from that block, I'm seeing a bunch of men on the roof of a house, and they just working on the house. Turns out all these brothers finally managed to be off at the same time. That's another thing, especially when it comes to family houses and stuff like that, family property. None of the relatives or the men in the family are off at the same time. So they do a little bit here, a little bit there. But now all of a sudden, all of them were off. So they all tackled this
Hold on. Sorry about that. Hold on. Correction, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Mile marker 194 to 191, Interstate 87 South, North Carolina. Mile marker 194 to 191. All right, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm seeing them tackle this roof. I'm passing by. I say, oh yeah, I finally got a chance to say, oh yeah, we've been needed to do this roof. We tired of patching. Now that we all here and we got all the material, we're gonna knock it out right now. And I seen them working on the house next door and stuff like that. Said, well, we had this extra, and we knew, we know these people, so we was checking their roof, and they need a little patchwork. We can do patch, and stuff like that. I saw men working on cars. Shoot, I seen a man gave up his car to his wife so he can concentrate on fixing her car. It's like we see his wife little car. Look, it's like, oh, what's your car? Your car's down. Say, oh, no, I let my wife handle it because I'm gonna need to do the full workup while I got the time. Because they think it's gonna be a certain time.
I saw the same thing in my community, man. They were out there in droves. And what I liked about it the most, they had the young sons out there and they were teaching them. The sons were out there working, learning how to do things, learning how to fix rules, learning how to, I mean, it was a beautiful thing to see, man. It gave me flashbacks.
No. So what and hearing that now, well, I guess Gangster, what did or Max, what did you think was your take as to why this didn't normally occur? I know Frankie said basically, men were working, 2 jobs or working 16 hours and just, really didn't have the time.
Yeah, I never looked at it that way. I never, that never crossed my mind. But now that she said that, it's got me thinking maybe that was the cause of a lot of it. Maybe a lot of brothers are working 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet, trying to provide for their families, and really don't have the energy left to put into their sons the way they would like to. So maybe that does have something to do with it. Now that I think about it, because I drive a truck cross country, right? And I know it takes a lot out of me. So I can imagine a brother maybe working 2 jobs or maybe putting in 70 hours, okay, a week on the job and just not having the physical energy to put into his sons.
Yeah,
I can definitely see that happening.
She said too, like people are gone 3 months on, 3 months off or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of brothers work on these jobs where they're gone from home. My job keeps me away from home for a little bit. I don't let it keep me away from home too much, but, and so other brothers are doing the same thing. And they're driving trucks as well. And they probably got like welding jobs where they got to be on the site for a week before they come home. So, yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, that can be a big contributor to it.
Now, the only thing kind of going back to what I was saying about the policy piece, my whole thing is, my stance is, the way the economy is structured right now, the way middle class people are basically not getting any wage increases, or but basically, if we have an economy right now where people need literally 2 jobs to make ends meet, to me that's sort of the social fallout that you don't hear a lot of politicians talk about, is the fact that if you have a family who a father has to work 2 jobs, a mother has to be constantly working, no one is there to put that time into the kids, versus when you had a time when a man could literally work literally 40 solid hours a week and then have the weekend or something to take care of things like that, you could have better outcomes. But to me, that's kind of a reflection of where the economy has gone.
And you know what I don't understand is this, right? This country gives so many foreign countries all of this financial foreign aid, but you're having a problem with the minimum wage. You don't want to raise the minimum wage in your own country with your own people. You're going to give countries that don't have anything to do with our way of life over here, don't contribute to our way of life, billions of dollars. But yet you're having a meeting and you're arguing over whether the minimum wage should be $15 an hour. I don't understand that.
Yeah,
How is it that we can't stand $15 an hour when you're giving away billions of dollars in foreign aid?
Well, like I said, I'm not personally one who supports the right, but that's sort of been the thing that they've gotten a lot of working class, especially working class white people, to buy into, is these policies that aren't really beneficial to them at all. Because when you talk about the $15 minimum wage, they're not even talking about $15 immediately. They're talking about, I think, an immediate hike up to like 11 or 12, and then by like 2025 it would be 15. So it's not like they just pass it and next week you get $15 minimum wage, and you can't even get people to agree on that at the federal level, even though somewhere like Florida did agree on it.
Yeah.
At the state level.
That's a shame. And that's a shame. And they'll pass a bill quicker than I don't know what to send $200 billion to Gambia or some other place that we barely heard of, but you won't do right by your own people here who are busting their butt every day trying to make ends meet. And even $15 an hour doesn't solve the problem all the way across the board, because that all depends on where you live.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah. $15 an hour in New York still isn't shit.
Oh, yeah. Same thing with D.C.
That's nothing. Shit, in New York, you need about 25, $26 an hour. You know,
Yeah.
so I just don't understand, man, these politics and why we don't put their feet to the fire and we don't ask them the hard questions. Say, hey, wait a minute. You're sending billions of dollars out of here almost on a daily basis to all of these countries that don't do anything for American people. They don't come in here, send us food. They don't come over here to make sure we have nothing. And yet you got a problem with your own people trying to make ends meet? I don't know, man. It's almost like we got a cannibal. It's like we got a government that just want to cannibalize its own people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, you got things from, like I said, that you got pushes for this, but like I said, the main thing, in my opinion, is you have a lot of this, like I said, the white working class vote who goes along with a lot of this stuff, and just because of numbers, we're kind of stuck because a lot of black, most black people vote for Democrats who have been in favor of stuff like this, but you can't get people on the right to buy in.
Black people need to create their own party. It's time we create our own party because the Democrats, the Republicans, they're not doing anything for us. Anything. The Democrats are the worst of the bunch. At least we know what the Republicans are. The Democrats, you have no idea what they're thinking about until it's too late. And neither one of us have our interest at heart. Black people need to develop their own party. It's time that we made a third wheel around here when it comes down to politics.
Now that's the sentiment of a lot of people. I will say I know people are frustrated with Democrats. Rightly so. I think they made some missteps early on. In the Obama years. I will say from what I've seen so far, it looks kind of promising in this administration. But it's like I said, it's only 30 days in. So you got some relief.
Well, according to Jason. Well, according to Jason Black, Biden. According to Jason Black, Biden has lost his mind, man. He doesn't care anything about black people. I haven't really looked yet because I'm really not a politic guy. I haven't really looked at what he's doing yet. But I'm gonna start paying attention.
I was gonna say, I'll be honest with you. I do follow politics a lot more.
Lay it on me.
I am not a Jason Black supporter at all. A lot of stuff he talks about, I feel like he's playing on people's emotions, and their cynicism. The reason I say with Biden is, like I said, I think this infrastructure bill is going to get passed either through reconciliation, where they're just going to do basically a party line vote, or they're going to get Republican passage. I don't know if I'm assuming you saw with the COVID relief package, there was a provision for basically minority farmers for debt relief for them.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. That they got about $5 billion in that in the bill. Like I said,
they should, because they were cut out of the other money. Remember the other money they were supposed to promise to the farmers?
Oh, you mean
black farmers didn't get it?
With Trump?
What was it?
With the trade war?
No, this went back to the Obama administration.
Oh, you talking about like the Pickford thing?
Yeah. Remember when they had the issue with their seeds being poisoned and all that, and the farmers?
I know you're talking about. You're talking about the guys who got sold fake seeds.
Yeah, and then like a lot of those farmers who was promised that money, they died, but the money didn't go to their family members or anything like that.
Oh,
so
really? I didn't know that.
Got cut out of that. Yeah. So I'm thinking this is probably a makeup for that, because those farmers, they got the short end of the stick. They didn't get any of that money.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I have to go. I have to look into that, because I was a little bit. I was a little bit before, like a little bit younger. I wasn't paying as close attention then. I said I think the infrastructure, like I said, I think that's an opportunity if people can get themselves in a position to benefit off of it. Whether it be like, getting a skilled trade, or finding, like I said, finding something to finding a company that will kind of sponsor you into it. I mean, you're a truck driver as well too. I mean, do you see a lot of demand? I
Mhm.
mean, I always hear in this space, a lot of black men on YouTube are truck drivers, and I always hear they can't get enough of them.
Mhm.
I don't know what your
No,
thought is.
no, we need more. We need more. Black people need to start starting more truck driving businesses. We got some sisters who are doing it. We got some brothers who are doing it. But the problem is growing fleets. What the black truck driver company owner is facing is fleet size. Okay, they'll let them in the industry and they'll let them start a trucking business, but they're trying to minimize their trucks. That's the problem. A lot of dealers like Freightliner who give out these big time contracts to companies like Prime, Swift, FedEx, stuff like that. They don't want to do the same thing with these smaller trucking companies, these black trucking companies. So it's hard for them to grow their fleet. They can't get the 50 truck fleet like Swift can get, the way you can make millions of dollars a week. They can't get
Oh,
that. They're
okay.
being blocked from that. Yeah.
The
You know.
other thing, too, I know is like one of the guys I follow and I'm cool with even off of YouTube is a trucker.
Uh-huh.
He has his own truck driving company, his own fleet. He does a lot of
Yeah.
contracts, even
Yes.
federal contracts. Um,
Yes. That's
that I
big money.
know, yeah, that I know a lot of. I know from the Black Chamber of Commerce, they complained under the Trump administration because they were doing a lot of bundling of contracts, which basically made it
Yes.
harder for
Yes.
black businesses to get access to those
Yes.
contracts. Um,
Exactly.
I don't know what the policy is so far, but I know that there should at least be a push away from that under this administration to where, hey, the contracting process, at least these black companies that are trying to get in, they actually have a fair shake at trying to get in on some of these contracts, because I mean that is big money, and like no one spends more money than the federal government.
Yeah, and you know something else? They're discriminating against fleet size, right? Fleet size is extremely important, right? Because fleet size is what's going to ultimately determine the size of your company and how much influence you have in the transportation business. So when it comes down to black owners, they're discriminating against the fleet size. Like big contracts out here, like Procter and Gamble, General Mills, right? These are huge contracts, right? They're discriminating against smaller black trucking companies because they don't have a certain amount of trucks in their fleet. And so when the black truck driver owner goes to Freightliner or goes to Mercedes or goes to International, they can't get those contracts. You know, they make it so that they make it tough for them to get them contracts to where they can get 10 or 15 trucks in their fleet.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about
Yeah.
guys going trying to buy or even lease trucks from these
Yes,
bigger companies.
lease. Yeah,
Okay.
because leasing is the way to go. Nobody hardly buys trucks anymore unless you're a really small time guy that's starting out with one or two trucks. You might buy one or two trucks, but even after that, you should be looking to lease.
Okay, now
Okay, yeah,
the guy I talked to, I'm really close to. He actually buys his, but he said he buys all his used, and he won't buy anything later than like 2001 or something
yeah,
type of truck. And he was saying mainly because of the quality and all the things that could go wrong. And then he was saying he says roughly he can find one. I think he said for maybe 15 to 20,000. And then
yeah,
he'll do like certain repairs on it, when he buys
yeah,
it and pull it in his fleet that way, at least to get
yeah.
it.
But
Now I don't know if that's his long term strategy or what, but that's at least how he's advertised how he's done it so far.
right, that's something that he should look to get away from as soon as possible. Because the problem with these truck maintenance is extremely expensive. Okay, and when you buy a truck that's used like that, 15,000 is well over 1,000,000 miles on it. Probably 2 or 3 million miles on it. Right now, you're looking at probably engine rebuilding, probably blowing out the drivetrain, which is going to make the truck useless. All right, and then you're going to scrap it at that point because you're not going to put another drivetrain in it. It's going to cost you more than the truck, right? So I think that's a strategy that they should get away from as soon as possible. Get into these big $30,000 fleets like these other companies are doing, and that's the problem. They're trying to shut them out of these big time lease contracts because in these lease contracts, the company that's doing the leasing, all of the maintenance is on them. As long as you're under contract and you're leasing with them, they do
Yeah.
all of the maintenance. Okay, so it doesn't come out of your pocket. That's why it's better to lease now than to own trucks. Like you got Prime, right? Prime don't own none of their trucks. All their trucks are leased, and they got something like what, nearly 10,000 trucks on the road right now, all
Now, now,
leased.
now, would you
Uh,
recommend someone looking? Because I'm imagine once that lease runs out, they turn it in for a new truck, right?
yes, yes, absolutely.
Now,
That's the whole
now,
beauty about leasing. You can get the, like for example, you can change your whole fleet out. Like if you got a 2000, let's just say you got 2021s, right? Here come the new 2022s, right? Well, you can start turning your fleet back over to the new 2022s.
now, what happens to those former lease trucks? Because I
They
mean, did it like
they
say
bring them.
what happened to like the 2018s that people were leasing?
Well, what they do is they bring them back in. They make this them, making sure that they're good, and they either release them to upstart companies or they sell them. Most likely, they're just going to lease them again because you got plenty of upstart companies coming up, like and a lot of them are Arab companies, okay, that are coming in and leasing these trucks. Like the small company that I'm leased to, right? They got a bunch of 2017s, 2016s that they lease.
Okay.
Leasing it, yeah, yeah. Leasing is the way to go. If you're going to buy a truck, one or two, okay, you can start out like that. That's fine. But you want to try to get the opportunity to move into leasing as soon as possible.
Now, what do you see as the biggest barrier for Black people moving in? Is it just capital, or do you see like
Um,
people purposefully trying to hold people out?
well, all the above. Capital, um, not knowing the business very well, not making connections. Like me, everywhere I go, right? I connect with the people I'm delivering to. I shake hands. I introduce myself. I make connections. That way, if I really need to get a contract or whatever, I can call these people up and say, hey, remember me? You know, I've established
Yeah,
a relationship with them. Right. And
yeah, no,
so,
that's exactly what he said. He said
right.
basically, the government has a term, I believe it's called delevering, is what the government calls it.
Hmm.
Where essentially, you'll go and break down in the supply like this prime supplier, you'll go break down essentially their supply chain. So you'll see where they're getting all their subs from. Same thing there in
Hmm.
the sense of like if you have a contract delivering with, one company, like you said, if you get out, build a relationship with those people, you can get
Yes.
in there and figure out, hey, okay, they're charging you, you're paying them a monthly rate of, I don't know, $100,000 for all your deliveries, and you say, "Oh,
Hmm.
well, I can easily do that for 80 and still make good profit on it." And then you essentially take that contract away from that company. He was saying, but he was saying what he saw is a lot of people weren't able to go in there and build that rapport and build that relationship, like you were saying, with them. So if that opportunity did arise, they could actually take it.
Well, also, what's hurting that too with black people. Black people have a bad tendency of getting double brokered a lot. See, these white boys don't play that double broker and stuff. It's when one broker gets a load and brokers it to another broker, which takes money off of it, and then that broker brokers it to another broker, which takes more money off of it. Then he brokers it to another broker. By the time it gets to you, like say below is paying $10,000, right? By the time it gets to you, it's paying 3 grand.
Oh wow! So basically, they're
Yeah,
subbing out the load.
yeah. They're doubling, tripling, quadrupling the brokerage, right? And black people let them get away with it. See, white people don't let that happen.
Yeah,
You see
because
what I'm saying? So, huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
because essentially you got essentially if you have the relationship with the initial broker, you can cut all these middle brokers out
Hmm. Right.
and make more money.
Right.
Every
Oh, you
time
can.
you put a layer of brokerage, you put a layer of fees.
Right, and then you can just say, look, I'm not going to deal with you because you got a bad outfit. I have a good service here. You can look at my track record. On time delivery is big in this business. Let me tell you something. A record of on time delivery, right? It puts you at the cream of the crop. That is big in this business. On time delivery. If you are late everywhere you go, man, you'd be lucky if you get a contract from a homeless person. But if you are on time, that is they covered that in this business.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I when I worked fast food when I was in high school, I used
Mm-hmm.
to unload the truck, and that was a big thing because you
Mm-hmm.
literally put people on the clock. And
Yeah.
this is just a small fast food restaurant. So you're not talking about an 18-wheeler full of stuff, even though it came on an 18-wheeler. You're talking
Mm-hmm.
about something that, if they unpack the truck and just put all of your order in there, you may be talking about 2 or 3 pallets worth of stuff.
Exactly. And you know
Um,
what? And see, like for example, if you got a company like you said, if you got a load coming in, say you got a load of watermelons coming in, right? And your appointment time is at 8 in the morning. Okay, you don't show up until 11 or whatever. You done screwed up their whole schedule. Now they done did something else. They may have to bring somebody in to unload you. They got to probably pay somebody. You're
yep.
taking money out of their pocket.
Yep, that's
You know what
exactly
I'm
what we
saying?
ran into.
Right. Yeah.
Luckily, what would happen is,
Mm-hmm.
the company they'd have they'd schedule enough people working, so they'd know, and there'd be enough
Uh-huh.
holdover. But we did have instances where it came and they had to call people in to unload it because, like you said,
Yes.
it
Uh-huh.
was 2 or 3
Mm-hmm.
people, and like I said, this wasn't a big truck. So if you start talking about, a Walmart or something like that, um,
Yes.
and you got things that have to be on, and granted, if you got a whole truck and you've got a Walmart, you got pallets and forklifts, but you still got to put this stuff up. Like you said, you got people who are probably sitting on the clock waiting if
That's
the
right.
truck doesn't
Waiting.
show up, and then if you come in later, if those people aren't there, they got to then pay that whoever comes in to unload it as well. So you're
And
paying
don't
two
let it
groups.
right. And don't let it be a commodity. Don't let it be something that they absolutely need. And you got the nerve to show up late. You'll lose the contract.
Yeah,
That'll be the
I'm
last
sure.
load you do for them. Yeah. That'd be the last load you do for them. Because if they really need it, say you show up after business hours, they got to call somebody in to unload it. That contract is terminated. You don't lost your contract.
Yeah.
So one of the things that because I got a trucker show too that I do called the Fifth Wheel, and what I'm telling black truckers, do your on time delivery because if your on time delivery is in the 90% rate, even the 85 and up, right, that can get you in a lot of doors with a lot of companies, and brokers will look favorably on you, and so that can also get you around a lot of the red tape. Okay, but if your on time delivery is in the garbage, like 70% or below, man, you're gonna have a tough time, and you're gonna face all of the challenges as well.
Yeah, yeah. Have you heard of a channel called Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah, I know Man of Tomorrow.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's who I was referencing. I know he does the trucking
Mm-hmm.
things as well. Yeah, I
Yes.
chat with him offline as well. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
obviously not in the business, but he's told me a little bit about what he does. But yeah, that's a good
Yes.
reference point as well.
Yes. 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 And like I said, the one because I had a friend um, who had his own truck, but he lost it because he bought the truck too old. It was a truck that nobody really serviced anymore. It was a Mack truck. It was too old, and it kept breaking down, and it kept costing him an arm and leg to fix because nobody really serviced that truck anymore. It's like I tell people, don't buy anything now with a Caterpillar engine in it. I don't care how cool it looks. If it has a Caterpillar engine, don't buy it.
Oh,
Okay, because Caterpillar don't make that engine anymore.
okay.
Right, and you got people who are hard headed, buy these old trucks with Caterpillar engines in it, and then when they break down and all that, they're having a hard time getting them fixed, and it's costing them an arm and leg to get them fixed simply because Caterpillar don't service those engines anymore because they don't make them. So you got like bad decisions of people who come in. A lot of brothers that I ran into, they seem to think that you're supposed to get a piece of truck. One dude bought a truck for 6,000, right? And he had it for 3 weeks before the drivetrain fell out on the highway. Just fell out.
Oh, wow.
Just fell out. Bloop. And he had the nerve to pay. He had the nerve to pay $4,000 to get another one.
Oh, what? Like another truck or another drivetrain?
Another drivetrain.
Oh, wow. I guess
The
he thought
truck.
he was already 60,000 in.
Hey, boy, the truck is a piece of crap. A lot of these brothers think that you're supposed to get the cheapest truck out there as possible. That's
Nah,
not
you
the
don't.
way to do it.
Nah,
That's going to get you in debt.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Then, like you said, that's gonna destroy. I'm sure your on-time delivery rate. Looking at fees for being late as
Yeah,
well. On top of that, yeah, no, yeah, that's why that's why I was saying. Like when I talked to man tomorrow, he always told him, you need to have X amount of dollars put away,
mm-hmm.
just so like
Yes,
I think he said around 25, maybe 30, and that may be
yeah,
on the high end. But he was saying, buy your truck with X amount and then have X amount in the bank, just so in case
yeah.
something breaks, you have it fixed and you're not sitting out there waiting.
I
At least
recommend
for people getting started.
I recommend guys who are getting started. Look, save your money. Get you a truck that's at least $25,000, $30,000. Don't go and get no $9,000, $10,000, not even a $15,000 truck. 25 or 30. Trust me, you're going to be well worth it. You're going to make a lot of money. The truck's going to pay for itself. It's not going to break down on you like that. It's not going to have as many miles on it like that. It's going to be already broken in, and it'll be easy to maintain. And make sure you get a warranty with a service warranty, and you'll be fine. And then you'll make some money. These guys getting these trucks, 5,000, 6,000. Man, I seen a dude with a cab over. Like, man, what are you doing out here with a cab over, man? Like, the guys, they just get the cheapest, and they wonder why they can't make any money. Am I
Yeah,
still
I
here?
think. Yeah, I'm still. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's like I said, it sounds like people just not being prepped because if you're talking about doing that, you got two options really. Then you got either A, you can go and take out a loan and try to buy it and then pay off the loan, or you can have enough to pay for it cash up front. But
Right.
I think a lot of people take the mentality of I don't want any debt, and so I got $5,000 sitting around, so let me just take
Mm-hmm.
my 5,000 and not have any sort of payment versus saying,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let me take my 5,000, put it in the bank, have that as a cushion, and then go take out a loan for 25, and then just work to pay off my loan as quick as possible.
And you know what? Here is still, right? If you got friends, right? You guys can put your heads together and start a trucking company, right? Like, okay, say one of you can get good credit, all right? And the other two, maybe one who got good credit and one is good at business, but all three of y'all can drive, right? Let the one with the good credit get the loan, the one with the business run things, and all three of y'all drive. Now you got a trucking company going here. That's making money.
Yeah, that I mean that's a brilliant idea in and of itself.
Yeah. I know somebody's doing that right now. I know three women who are doing that right now, three black women
Oh wow.
who are doing that right now. Yeah, who are
That-
doing that right.
that-
Oh yeah, women are really starting to gang up in this business, man. I'm starting to see more, and you know what I like? I'm starting to see more and more black women driving these trucks. Not white women, black women,
yeah, I mean
black women.
I'll never forget when I was moving, um, and I had to call a tow truck to get my car shipped. And there was a mix up, and they ended up sending two tow trucks. Two black women came. Now, granted, this was in Atlanta when I was living there at the time, but two black
hmm
women driving tow trucks.
Yeah, wreckers too.
Yeah.
I seen them pull up in wreckers and get out and knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. And you know what? And a lot of companies now are looking to hire women because too many cowboys out here flipping these trucks. There's too many women have a higher safety record than men overall in this business. Way higher. It's not even close. They just
Oh
don't
really?
get into accidents. Yeah.
Is that
Women,
at every level of age too?
no, it doesn't even matter.
Oh really?
They come in the game. Yeah, they
Cause
come in the game paying attention to the rules, driving safely. You don't never see none of them out here running 75 miles an hour or 80 miles an hour like a lunatic. You understand what I'm saying? You don't see none of them doing that. They drive the speed limit, sometimes five miles below the speed limit. They obey the rules. They're not uptight or anxious. They don't tailgate people. They don't get into accidents.
probably
They have
less
a
road
very
rage too.
right. They have a very high safety record. And I'm telling you right now, the companies don't give a damn about whether they're women or not. They care about that safety record. Okay, because that safety record can really hurt a company. If a company has a bad CSA score for safety, man, they can lose contracts, they can get shut down. So they're going after drivers who are safe. That's why more and more women are being hired, because they're proven over and over again to be safer drivers than men. These guys get out here and do dumb stuff, bro. Out here riding 70 miles an hour on ice.
Yeah,
and they go belly up somewhere, yeah, talking crazy on the CB. Yo, man, I don't know what y'all slowing up for. Ain't nothing but a little ice. Then 10 miles down the road, he done went belly up off the road somewhere.
Now, just for my knowledge, how fast are you supposed to go? Just in general, like if a clear conditions on the road, it's like.
Well, clear conditions, right? You should always drive the speed limit if you can. Some people are afraid to drive too fast. 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour in most states. Most states are 70 miles an hour, okay? Even in New Jersey, you can do 70 miles an hour in some places. But 65 is good. You want to do 60, you can get out here and drive the way you want to drive. You know what I'm saying? Some people, sometimes I drive 75, sometimes I drive 60. Like right now, it's a clear day. I'm just chilling. I'm not rushing. I'm only doing 60 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. You ain't got to gun it all the time, but you got fools out here in bad conditions doing 70, 75. I mean, I've seen guys doing 70 miles an hour in the snow.
Oh, wow.
In the snow. And you wonder why women don't do that. When it's snowing out here like that, they in a truck stop. They don't be out here messing around with these conditions like that.
Yeah, and
when it gets too dangerous, they go park it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the other thing. I talked to the guy who was moving me, and to when I was working in fast food, and they were always talking about the restrictions that they had to put on the industry because guys were doing crazy stuff like driving too many hours like straight and falling asleep behind the wheel and all that.
Yeah, falling asleep.
So now, like, I think the logbook, what is it? You can only do 12 hours?
11 hours. 11 hours.
11 hours.
And it's really 10 and a half because you got to take a 30-minute break in order to get your other 2 hours back. So it's really 10 and a half.
Yeah. So that, I always thought, he always talked about, the guy who would always deliver to us, he said, hey, I had to get down the road because, after so many hours, I got to shut this truck down.
Right. And some of them be rushing and carrying on, and then they end up getting in an accident. That's how you get in accidents, when you start rushing out here and doing stupid stuff like driving 70 miles an hour on a sheet of ice. Black ice. Let me tell you something, man. Black ice is deadly, bro.
Oh, yeah. Even in a car.
Yeah, deadly.
Let alone a truck where you get, you can't put on brakes and just slam on brakes like that.
And you're talking about a vehicle that you're driving that needs an entire football field to slow down. So you're talking about 100 yards just to slow down, right? So imagine if you're doing 70 miles an hour and you got to come to a stop. It's going to take you 700 yards to slow down. 7 football fields.
Oh, wow.
100 yards, yeah. Seven. It may take you longer than that, depending on if you're going downhill or not. You know what I'm saying? And don't be loaded with 40 grand in the trailer. That puts you at 80,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how hard it is to stop an 80,000 pound vehicle from going forward?
Oh, yeah. That's just physics right there.
Yeah. You got fools out here flying up and down the street in bad weather like they ain't got no sense. And women don't do that. They don't do stuff like that. When it's out here in its bad conditions, they in the truck stop parked. They ain't out here messing with this stuff like that. You got these cowboys out here, and they're the ones you see on the side of the road turned over.
Now, from your perspective, is it all men across the border like that, or different groups of men are worse violators, or it's just all men in general?
Nah, it's just men, period, bro. It's just dudes, period. It don't matter what race. I've seen whites do it. I've seen Arabs do it. I've seen blacks do it. I've seen crazy niggas out here too. Just as crazy as these white boys. How they doing stupid stuff. Usually the brothers really like not too much. They usually refrain from it, but you got a couple of them out here too. But the most is the white boys. The white boys are the culprit. They do it worse than anybody else. And they get into more accidents than anybody out here.
Okay. He'll be right. He'll be back. That's another part with problem driving. Sometimes you get into a dead zone or something interfering with the signal.
Yeah,
So
mine went down for a second too.
yeah, yeah. He ain't told you about the crazy drivers yet. There are people that's driving around truck that do crazy stuff. I've seen it myself. I've seen people speed up alongside the truck to pass the truck. And when you edge over, you're supposed to give at least a whole truck length between you and that truck before you move over. No, they move over with half a car length between them and the truck and then have the nerve to slow down. Slow down. The truck cannot stop fast enough. Uh, um, they're just gonna get hit. Then there's a bunch of crazy people running around that believe they're gonna survive a truck accident and get some money. I don't believe these people sometimes. So some people just be crazy. They be taking chances. So not only you gotta be a very defensive driver as a truck driver.
Yeah,
I
because
have,
they
mhm.
don't care about their truck that they're driving. All they do care is about the money that they're going to receive. So they'll be driving fastly to get their money. That's why.
Yeah, but the thing is, they gotta survive the truck. You know, one, you might not survive. Two, you might survive and be paralyzed, neck down, paraplegic, waist down. You know, yeah, yeah. Shooks. Even with a so-called little tap from 18 wheel is not nice. I've heard truck drivers tell stories about they cannot stop. You see the movies where they slam on the brakes and they stop. That is not normal. Every truck driver I said, the most they can do if they have time enough is to shift gears and gear down. And it still won't be. They cannot slam on them brakes and stop. They will
Yeah,
jackknife a truck if they do that. And I've
yeah.
seen trucks jackknife where they on the tail of their trailer. First time I seen that on the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge to New Orleans. Truck jackknife, engine straight up in there. It's on the tail of his truck. We still don't know to this day how that happened. Another truck driver, I think it was Max, told me how that was possible.
Oh, okay. Hey, for me,
Hey,
I
you
never.
back?
Okay, I'm bad. Sorry about that, y'all. I got knocked off.
Okay.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, I heard you say something about slamming on. Oh no, 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 no. That's the movies. Don't work like that out here, people.
Yeah.
Someone
Okay.
actually thought. Someone asked me one time, right? That listen, how come you trucks can't stop? Y'all got 18 sets of brakes. See, when
They
people
did.
say stuff like that,
They didn't pay attention in science class.
yeah, exactly. See, when people say stuff like that to me, it worries me because they shouldn't be out here. A person like that will put people's lives in jeopardy. If you think that we should be able to stop on the dime because we got 18 sets of brakes, you need to go back to a class or you need to learn what's going on out here before you get out here and drive. A lot of these people shouldn't be driving, man. I don't see people come in, they don't know how to enter an interstate. They slow down, speed limit 70 miles an hour. They come in, they slow down, about to get everybody killed. So a lot of these drivers, They need to be educated about speed limits, doing simple things as far as entering on ramps. A lot of people can't get on an on ramp right. You know, they get frightened because people are whizzing by them. They don't know how to accelerate with the flow of traffic. They actually slow down against the traffic. And people like that to get themselves or other people killed out here. You can't do those things, people. You can't come into an interstate with a speed limit of 75 miles an hour and get on an on ramp and slow down. You're going to get yourself killed. They can't do something as simple as accelerate. Am I on here? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So that.
No,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Basically,
Who's this mute?
no, basically,
Yeah.
hey, by the time you get ready, when you get on the on ramp, by the time you get to the end of the on ramp, you need to be going with the
Yeah.
flow of traffic so you can merge into it.
You merge right in. You should hit 60 by the time you get to that on ramp, to the end of that on ramp. I done seen people get to the end of that on ramp and try to merge into traffic doing like 35, 40 miles an hour. Man, you're gonna get knocked into next week doing that. I'm telling you. I've seen people come in and glide all the way over to the hammer lane doing 40 miles an hour. Speed limit is 75. You know, so you got people cutting us off. We can't stop like that, people. We can't. 18 seconds breaks my ass. We cannot stop like that. It takes us a long time to stop.
The other thing I was going to mention too, you were talking about starting the business piece, and looking at loans. There's you should always look at things like the SBA and minority just business programs in general.
Yeah, but the SBA is trifling. They got a lot of stipulations on their loans, almost impossible stipulations.
Oh,
They're
really?
kind of like a taskmaster organization. They'll give you the loan, but they're going to make sure they're on you every single day about that loan. And they're going to threaten you because I know a couple of people who went through them and they said it was the worst thing that they ever did and they'll never do it again. That they're constantly on you. And I even called them up one time to find out about the loan, right? And I talked to the guy. By the end of the conversation, I said, nah, no, thank you. I mean, the stipulations they got are absolutely crazy. Oh, we need to make a phone call. We need to know where the truck is. We need to know where you park the truck. We need to know the secure parking. We need to know what you're doing on your daily operations. We're going to send you a form to fill out every day. Send it back to us. If we don't hear from you, we're going to assume that this, and that. We're going to send somebody out to get the truck. I mean, they are trifling, bro.
Okay.
They are trifling. Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, they trifling. Now, I don't know what they do on other things, but I have called them and inquired about a loan. And like I said, by the end of the conversation, I was not interested at all. I said, okay, I'm going somewhere else.
No, if it's that cumbersome, that's where a need for things like a community credit union or something like that, where it's not really so much focused on making necessarily a bunch of money off this loan, but more it being there.
Hey, you know what? I don't even hear anybody. I haven't mentioned that the SBA. I haven't even heard them mention in over a decade, maybe more than that. I think people have gone away from them. I remember about 20 years ago, used to hear about them a lot. You don't hear about them anymore. You don't hear about them anymore. Nobody recommends them. No.
Did you hear anything about the Minority Business Development Office or Minority Business Development Agency?
No.
Okay. No, I've heard Roland Martin talk about it, but I haven't really looked into it much.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they downsized it some under Trump and Obama.
Yeah, Mr. Roland Martin doing a bunny hop on TV for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, I can see you're not a Roland fan then, really.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Now, fair enough. I know people don't. Like I said, I think he does a decent job. I can't tip my hat to him for starting his own platform. To the people who say, you know, you need more independent black media, I do understand some people just don't like him because they feel like he's too
Well, I can,
partisan.
well, I can, well, I can respect him doing that, starting his own thing. I mean, more black people need to start their own things. I just don't agree with him on certain things. But yeah, I respect the fact that he started his own platform. I can respect that. I think black people should start their own platforms, regardless of whether we agree with them or not. At least get it started, and then we can figure it out from there.
Yeah, and he's big at going to advertisers about getting, you know, getting his dollars for specific, you know, advertising services and vendors, you know, getting dollars. And you know, he talks about how, you know, they're not used to, you know, black media companies really making some of the demands he does. But
No, no, they're not. That's the same thing. Like I say here, in the trucking business, right? They're not used to black trucking companies asking for certain things or demanding certain things. That's why they try to, shut them out. Because they're used to white people coming and starting these big lease fleets. Now, if you're white, you won't have no problem getting the fleet. But if you're black, it's going to be tough. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be tough. They're going to make it tough for you. Because for one, there's going to be credibility. They're going to tell you, okay, well, how much money is your company making now? Can you make this kind of money? I mean, they're going to make it hard for you. Whereas white folks don't have to go through that same kind of scrutiny. They can just show up and say, I'm white, give me a fleet. And the size of your fleet is extremely important because that will determine how big your company becomes and how much your company can produce. 2 trucks won't make nowhere near as much as a fleet of 10 or 15 or 20. You get 10 trucks. As soon as you get your 10th truck, actually, 5 trucks will make you a millionaire, but 10 will solidify it. You got 10 trucks, you're making a million, over $1 million a week. Maybe even more than that.
now, Max, is that something you're working towards?
Yes. Yes, I'm working towards my own fleet. I'm getting ready to work with a big company now to give me the opportunity. Sometimes, you see, there's other ways to get around it. You can actually go through a company too, a big company that offers that kind of service, and you can work with them. Because I know a couple of people that started like that, who got their own fleets now. And so that's the route that I'm going to take. Because at least then you got some backing. You can lean on that company's credibility to get your fleet because they'll vouch for you. So that's the route I'm about to take.
Okay. No, I hope that works out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it'll work. You'll find out because I'll be up here, telling them, hey, I just made $1 million. Oh, what? As soon as I make my first spin, I'm gonna let everybody know. Wow, we kind of, man, we started out one way, ended up another way, huh?
No. I didn't want to derail. I think it's sort of we started talking about, you know, what was sort of the distraction that was keeping sort of the men from really, you know, being involved in the community, and it sort of got into, you know, guys being truck drivers, being out on the road and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as, you know, pulling men away from home. But, you know, I think it tailed into something good in the sense of, you know, you because I know we sort of started on the panel with RBR just talking about, hey, you know, what can black people do as a next
RBR
step.
don't let anybody. Yeah, well, he don't let anybody talk, man.
Nah. He does his thing. But, you know, I think we hit on something, you know, you know, getting into business, getting in, teaming up of like-minded people is something definitely that, you know, black men have to do if they want to get the community back in order, and working together in a functional way where you can have a long-term sustainment of the community.
But now that I think about it, right, now I understand why when white people promote their businesses, things like that, they always stress being home with family. I watch commercial after commercial of white people getting jobs saying, and I got more time with my family. I got more time with my family. I got more time with my family.
Yeah,
I think
work-life
black
balance.
people. Yeah, I think black people need to start thinking that way too. Because now that I think about it, those fathers are stressed out, two jobs, trying to make ends meet. We need to start structuring it to the way where we can spend more time with our families too, and still make good money. But to
I,
do that, we gotta have. You got
no, I was gonna say I think people got to plan for it.
right.
Because I think what happens to a lot of brothers is you graduate from high school, you go on to either go to college or go to military, whatever route you're going, skill trade, or you may not even do all of that, and people don't think about like getting themselves in position before a family comes along,
Hmm.
because that's only going to complicate things. Make it harder. So it's like get whatever career you got, get it semi going, so you're in that direction, so you're not
Hmm.
struggling. Um,
Right.
fight those early battles early. So like you said, if you're going to do trucking, go straight into trucking. Get your CDL, get all that taken care of. Get you some experience, and maybe even get that business off the ground before kids come along.
Right.
Just because, so when they do, you have it in a place where you have more time with your family versus sometimes people get the kids first and then I got to do all this to take care of the kids, and you kind of behind the eight ball at that point.
Right. Information man. Shout out to Information Man in the chat. He says that we need to promote family. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to, man. We're trying to do that now, but we're up against it because we have a lot of brothers out here who seem to have the spotlight that don't care anything about family. And that seems to be the interest of a lot of black men who are following these guys and supporting these guys. They don't promote family. They don't care about family. It's like I said earlier, our children are being murdered, and they don't care about that. So if you don't care about our children being killed, then you surely don't care about family. Yeah, my brother.
No, I was gonna say you can kind of argue that like I was telling uh Frankie on last thing. Like I said, anything you point out, it can go both ways, because a lot of these guys will go at the women for listening to these guys, these dating coaches, for
Hmm.
basically saying they're selling a dream, they're just trying to make money. But you could argue some of these male dating coaches are doing the same thing. They're telling you what you want to hear, and they're making money off of you.
I don't even know why black people are even occupied with that, to tell you the truth. I mean, it doesn't do anything for it doesn't do anything to strengthen our position. We're in last place and we're losing. It doesn't do anything to help us get out of a losing position. I don't even know why we even occupied with stuff like that, to tell you the truth. I mean, we got some serious pressing matters out here to
Oh
deal
yeah,
with in the real world in real time.
yeah,
We don't
yeah.
have any time worried about some damn dating coaches. Go ahead.
No, exactly. I was talking to another guy offline about this, and I was like, you got this whole COVID situation. Luckily you got an extension on eviction moratoriums, but I think I saw something the other day. Like I think it's like 33% of black families were behind on rent. So
Yeah.
if whenever that moratorium lifts, you gonna have people getting evicted, and people don't seem to be
How about
focused on
that?
that.
How about when the average black man passes away, he's got less than $2,500?
Oh, you're kidding?
No,
That's in total
less.
wealth.
Yeah, less than $2,500.
That's I
Which
mean,
is
I've had uncles who passed away, and that's kind of been, well, hope we got enough somewhere to bury them. But that's
no,
crazy to hear that number.
yeah. Don't even have enough to even get buried. So that tells you. Well, you see, you got guys running around here talking about they smooth with the ladies and all that. Yeah, but are you contributing to society to where we can get out of this, this 0.5% wealth thing? No, it don't seem to matter to people that we own 0.5% of the wealth in this country, which is virtually nothing,
You got
and
to
it
have
shows too.
you got to have a cultural shift, not only with promoting family, but promoting knowledge and education in all forms. Not necessarily like just books and going to school, but just like you said, general knowledge of knowing how to work with a group of men to go fix a roof or repair a
Well,
car, or all of that stuff that you need to build a community, as well as your intellectuals. You gotta have a respect and for that in your community. Otherwise, you
Well,
can't be self-sufficient.
well, we're no strangers to that, right? We went that way a couple of times before. We had Black Wall Street, we had Rosewood, we had several prominent Black communities that were very prosperous, right? And I think one is still standing somewhere in Mississippi. I got to look that up, but I think it's still standing, right?
Maybe Mount Bayou.
Yeah, something like that. It's Mount something.
Yeah,
I got to look it up. But we've gone down this road before, right? But here's the problem: we're not willing to defend what we build, and it gets taken away from us or destroyed, either or. See, we can do this again, right? But if you're not willing to defend it, it's going to be destroyed. It's going to be taken away from you simply because people don't want you to have it. They just don't. So we can't build these things if we're not willing to defend it. The white man ain't gonna let you take nothing. The white man ain't gonna let you take anything from him.
Right.
He gonna fight you.
Let me say a couple of words. I want to say thank you.
What's going on, my brother?
Hey, what's going on in Renaissance Man? I just got a few words I want to say. I think this is very positive to have this kind of conversation. Unfortunately, there's not enough of these conversations on the platform because everybody wants to know how they can get into a woman's pants and learn all that type of game shit that you should have learned from your father, your uncles, the old men in your neighborhood. Right. Now you're a grown ass man and you need advice from other grown ass man that ain't your uncle, ain't your daddy, ain't no kin to you, 1,000 miles away, trying to teach you the game, a game that you should have learned somewhere in your community. Unfortunately, for some, they didn't learn it. I don't know. But let's get to some real talk here. What you said is 100% real. And what Renaissance Man is talking about, it goes back to who we are as a people. What he's talking about is basically we need to get back to the spiritual, physical, okay, and the emotional. The physical is for physically preparing ourselves for what it is that we need to do. We need to prepare ourselves. Education is one aspect, and then there's the physical aspect of preparing ourselves for building our communities. There was once a time in this country where Black people actually built their own homes, had trade skills, because we were the most skilled coming out of slavery into Reconstruction, which is why you had unions that begin to pop up to protect white men from Black men that could potentially take their jobs because we were the most skilled. We have somehow lost that value. And that's why it makes me laugh when I hear Negroes on YouTube talking about you shouldn't get married, you should just be a player. But look, that doesn't create family. That creates destruction and chaos and confusion. Yeah. Black people had a lot of stuff in this country. We always talk about Black Wall Street, but we fail to mention other areas. How many of you are familiar with Manhattan Beach, which was once a prominent place for Black people?
What's it called?
Bruce Beach.
Bruce Beach?
Right. California.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, dear brother, Renaissance Man. And I think Jason Black blew open the door on his program last week to explain how it was owned by Black people. They had their own resort, and it was the whites within Los Angeles who drove them out and stole the business from them, to the point, as sadly as it is for me to say, the wife. This is the problem with Negroes who say that family is not important. Here you had Black people back in the back in the early 1900s, where you had the man who was running the household. He was running the business. The wife was assisting him, but she also had her own business within the beach resort that they owned. So they worked as a tandem team. So this idea that Black men and women can't work as a team is false, because we were doing it. So what they did is they stole the land, they stole the property, and unfortunately, both the wife and the husband ended up working as servants on the very land that was stolen from them. So Black people have owned many, many things within this country that a lot of times we don't hear about.
Now, there's a push to get it back, right, Information Man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I saw that. I saw that story like a couple years ago, and then I saw an article pop up a couple weeks ago saying that they were trying to get the land back.
Right. But see, it's funny how nobody talks about that. Where is the Black politicians for us who represent the Los Angeles area to put. We hardly hear them talk about this. We're hearing everything about immigrants and what we need to be doing for them, and the governor of California is giving them millions of dollars, and they're not even
Yeah, but we
legal.
don't have any black. I keep hearing people say black politics. You can't
Well,
have your own politics unless you have power and position. We don't have either.
we don't. Well, to have black power and black politics, brother, is to have black economics, right?
Right.
So that means what? We have to figure out ways to pull resources together. If we're going to say, well, we
Hmm.
can't do it, well, wait a minute. Why is it that black people in the 1800s and 1900s, when it was really bad, more bad for black people than it is today, were able to somehow have something, even though in some cases it was taken from them? And here we are, the modern Negro in America, where we have more access to resources and economics than they had. And we're sitting around here saying what we can't do.
Man,
And
the internet alone,
thank you,
just
sir.
having that.
Well, they had a built-in mentality, man. They were family structured, and they were strong-minded, man. You couldn't even break these people with slavery. Even
Well,
after slavery, they still was
what was the
was
first
was,
thing that
was
they did after slavery? The first thing that black people did is they got married. That was their first thing
Yeah.
that they started doing, getting
Yeah.
They
married.
went. You had people
Yeah.
who were separated who literally went searching for their wives.
Right. And
Yeah.
so check this out. I bet you 9, 10 times you couldn't find a black man back in those days talking about let's separate ourselves from our women. Let's go mid-tile. Let's go red
Yeah.
pill. Them Negroes wasn't
Unbelievable.
talking that type of talk back then.
Unbelievable.
But now,
Unbelievable.
but look at us. But think about it. You can make an argument that black folks might have been more intelligent then than we are now, because now we got more resources and more at our disposal. Yet we're not using any of it to benefit us. Now there are black folks out there that are doing things. I'm not going to negate that, but I don't think we're doing enough in unison as they did. And I know why they had to do that, because obviously they were segregated. And when you're segregated, it forces you to kind of like fend for yourself. So I think we're really in a I think we're in a poor state of affairs. But my remedy to this is that I think it's going to have to be built from our youth. We have to rebuild the structure through our youth. When you got brothers like George Makem, who has the urban nerds of program that he's running, you got a Q Butter who's got his school going, and many others out there. I think our youth are the future to where we're going to go based on our youth. I don't think us old Negroes are moving into the new world.
Wait,
Those of us that are still stuck on the old, on the bullshit. So,
wait,
but that's
info.
all.
And you know
That's all.
what?
That's all I wanted to say, brothers.
And you know what?
I want to ask you: Did you think this whole YouTube is a representation of real life? Because I feel like if you went in real life talking some of this stuff, people would look at you crazy.
Well,
No, they're not talking this stuff in real
Renaissance
life.
man, let me ask you a question, brother, and I agree with you. How many black men have you hung out with, just shooting the breeze out in the community, that talk in these codes like red pill, blue pill, all these kind of codes? I've been around black men. And yes, black men do have sometimes their complaints about the black women or the women that they're dealing with. But I don't really see brothers out in the streets on the everyday basics talking all these acronyms and all this other bullshit. They just are.
No.
I see black men just being who they are. And if they run across women that they don't like, they just say, I don't like this kind of woman, and they
And
keep
move
moving.
on.
Right.
Yeah, move on.
So I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the acronyms that you're hearing within Black YouTube, it really has no residency in the larger world outside of cyberspace. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you something kind of embarrassing. If you try to do a search for example, for the black manosphere, since everybody keeps saying this space, the black manosphere really doesn't exist as a real
No, it doesn't.
space within YouTube. It doesn't.
Oh no,
So you
RVR drives that home every day.
Yeah.
So he
we
tries
got
to do that
Negroes.
search.
Right, but it's true though, and RBR can be nutty, but sometimes he can be intelligent on a good day. But it's true. So we got brothers arguing in this so-called space talking about how powerful it is and blah 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 blah, and it doesn't even really exist as a real space on YouTube. While Negroes are coming up with acronyms.
Yeah, but I'm still trying to figure this out, right? We know what the manosphere is. It's a, it's white boy driven, right?
Right.
But what are we doing with a black version?
Well,
that's what I don't understand.
You can make an argument that you're mimicking your white counterparts, but you're just putting some black on it.
Right.
The claim is that they were in the white version of it, and racism popped his head up. Surprise, surprise, and that's why this was created.
Well, look, just recently, Donovan Sharp, who used to hang out with O'Shea and he used to be around the Black Manosphere. He tried to sell the Black Manosphere out and ran over to the White Manosphere. Then he went over there and started causing problems within that community. And they knocked his channel recently. Now I think now he got his channel back, but there's a group called Studio 21, and they don't like Donovan. They say he's a lot. So he's got the white boys that are giving him pushback, because our problem is that we think that the white man's ice is better than the black man's ice, and when the white boys are tired of you, they're gonna get rid of you. And then 9 or 10 times you come running back to the black side talking about, now I want to be a part of you guys. And so I think we got to stop trying to emulate other people and create our own we got to create our own ideologies that is void of European ideology, is what I'm saying. We got to create an ideology. I don't know if the black man in America has actually created an ideology that is void of the European ideology. I don't know.
Well, that's what Alfonso McGriff says. He says that you have black people operating with a consciousness created by white people.
Right. And I think, and the reason why is because, let's be honest, black people in America have never been freed from white society. We've never been freed mentally from white society, because it permeates through our brain, through our minds. We mimic it. We mimic things culturally, socially, trying to live up to a certain standard instead of creating our own standard. Now, I'll be honest with you. There probably was a time, way before any of us were born on this panel, where black people did create their own standard. That was when we were segregated.
Yeah. Even in the 70s. Even in the 70s, the eras that I grew up in, black people were different, man. It was a high quality of black people out there. They actually cared about each other. Yeah. They worked, they built things, they taught their children. Matter of fact, it was so strong. The government started taking things away from this. They started shutting down the industrial areas because black people had a hold on the industrial jobs. They started taking things out of the school, like shop. Carpentry, they started snatching it away from us
because black people were excelling in those areas.
Yes.
Wait, Max, you said that guy's name was Alfonso McInnes?
Yeah, Alfonso McGriff.
McGriff, okay.
Mm-hmm. Like you, Max, I grew up during that time as well. Right. I can concur with you that black people were a lot different at that time. But yes. I contend that the reason why we were different, because we knew that we were living in a world where we weren't wanted anywhere we went. I think the more society started to change and we started to see more integration, and we began to say, hey, now I can go hang out in the white people's neighborhood. I can go be a part of what they got going. The more we got, as Malcolm X would say, put the cream in the black coffee. And when you put that cream in the black coffee, it does what? It takes away the strength of that coffee, right? So, that's right. So I think I think integration hurt some of our unity and our ability to rely on the self, because the larger community said, we don't want you, Negro. Stay where you are. Don't come over here. We don't want you in our stores. We don't want you anywhere, which is why you had to have a Black Wall Street, a Rosewood, and many other communities in this country that may still exist that were black. But Max, I'm going to get off the panel though, brother. But what were you about to say?
Okay. I got one more question for you, Info. Remember a company called Rubbermaid?
Yes, sir.
I remember working for them at one time. Dude, it was a huge manufacturing plant in the black communities, right?
Hmm.
All of the machine operators, every last one of them were black.
Right.
All the machine operators.
Right. Right. Remember, what was the original name of Sears, Brother Max?
Sears and Robots, right?
And who was
Uh,
Robots? Who was Robots?
I can't
The bl-
remember.
It was a black man. It was a black
Okay,
man
right.
that was also a part of that concept. But then guess
That's
what?
why, you know what? That's why a lot of the Sears warehouses were predominantly black.
Yes, it was a black man who came up with the concept first. And like
Uh,
many things, he got squeezed out. Then they changed the name to straight Sears, but it was a black
Sears.
man who came up
Hmm.
with the concept of creating a store, doing those sort of things. Look, there's so many, there's so many thing aspects in our society that we don't realize were originally created by black entrepreneurs or black inventors who had their invention stolen. When
Yes.
it comes to the light bulb, just put this in your mind, brothers and sisters. Thomas Edison did not create the light bulb. It was a black man that was primarily responsible for that, and he got it stolen from him. Because remember, you had black inventors who were not allowed to get a patent. And what would
That's
happen is
right.
you would have the rich white boys who would say, okay, I'll get the patent for you. And then they would end up stealing the invention and getting rich and having
Yeah.
generational wealth. And the black man would not have his name on that product or the generational wealth. And then they would tell you and me that this white dude over here created this invention. How many of y'all even know that
Hmm.
ice cream was actually invented by a black man? I mean, the lights outside when you get in your car and you drive on green light,
Also,
you stop on red light. Gary Morgan created that.
also, also, the automatic transmission was originally created by a black man as well.
Right, or the tea in golf, or there's so many
Hmm.
things that we have invented and we've gotten some credit for, and then other things we never got credit for. So if you think about all those black men that invented all these inventions, where the hell is all the generational wealth of black people who come from that lineage? We should have a
It's a,
whole group of black people that were related to
yeah.
these men that should be wealthy today. But you know why? White man came in and swooped up the patents, swooped up the
Hmm.
ownership, and changed the name and got you thinking that it was made by some white boy.
Yep. They call them the blue bloods.
Right. I'm gonna leave with this. Remember
Hmm.
KFC. Remember Kentucky Fried Chicken. I think the granddaughter came out with a tell-all book a couple of years ago saying that her father stole the recipe for KFC from a black woman because black folks
Hmm.
were doing all the goddamn cooking in the South, not white folks.
That's right.
And
Stole
so
everything.
but look what happened. He got rich and wealthy off of a recipe of a black woman who was cooking that chicken for his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
y'all,
It
y'all
list
have,
hasn't,
goes,
hasn't deviated one bit from that recipe either.
nah, list
y'all,
goes on. Potato chips, all sorts. Yeah, all
yeah.
sorts of stuff.
But I'm
Peanuts, the grounding wire, the filament and the lights, all of it.
right.
Peanut
Well,
butter, all the
yeah.
agriculture technology that
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
George Washington Carver invented
Oh
and
yeah.
established.
Well, the computers that we're using right now and cell phones that we're using,
Dr.
there
Mark
was a,
Dean.
there was a black man involved in making this possible to have internet. And then you got the cocaine that comes out of Africa that makes it possible for us to be able to have cell phones that we use with those minerals in it. So I mean, could you imagine if black people had full economic control of these inventions? Black people would actually be the wealthiest people in this world,
That's right.
including the continent of Africa. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you could, I wish I could make. I mean, I wish I could make a damn sci-fi movie where where you could flip it back and say, if black people had complete control of all of our inventions and creation, women and men, where would we be on the wealth ladder in this country today. And not to mention that black people should really be in control of all agriculture in this country. You know why? Because we worked in agriculture, which means what? If you control the food source in this country, you control a hell of a lot. And you given our history, that should be an industry that we have completely locked up, which is agriculture.
Well, we had it at one point, but it was stolen from us.
Yeah, but if you look at every
or they were driven out, or they were killed over it.
Right. Every other culture in this country, they dominate a particular industry. When you look at Jewish people, they're heavily involved in the jewelry business. They're heavily involved on Wall Street. They're heavily involved in certain lucrative type of, businesses. Every group, Chinese, Japanese, they all got their hands in something that they're dominating. We at one time dominated the hair industry, and we somehow, well, let me correct myself. It was actually the United States government that assisted the Korean government in being able to get control over the hair industry, which these Koreans that come over here have been benefiting from, because we did control the hair industry at one time, beauty supplies and such like that. And I think at one point in time, black people dominated the mortuary business, right? That was heavily African American, where people would come and they would get your family member's body prepared for the funeral. I think we were very heavy in that particular line of work too. But I'm gonna get on off. Yeah. I'm gonna listen in the clouds. I got a few things I gotta do though, Max. But good talking.
Okay, bro.
Peace to you, Renaissance man. 2008 and the sister. Peace to you too.
Thanks, yeah, always great having you up here, man. Always great.
Yeah, thanks, information, man. I'm gonna do the same, Max. It's been great. Catching up with you. And like I said, I'll be listening to the chat as well.
Okay, man.
All right, take care.
All right. Yeah, man. Great talk, man. We started out with some fire and brimstone, but turned into a great build, man. I really enjoyed it. Like Info said, we got to have more conversations like this. We got to start getting into the areas of what we need to do as black people. I mean, we have a rich history. That's what I was saying before. So many brothers don't want to acknowledge who we are. This is why I got a problem with them running around here talking about knowledge of self and searching for knowledge of self way over somewhere else halfway across the world. Acknowledge who you are here. We have a rich history ourselves here that you can be proud of. Now, of course, we've been raped and pillaged and plundered, but it's still a history that is ours, that was established by the black people here in this country. You have a lot to be proud of. Our ancestors who established themselves in this country left behind a powerful legacy of inventions. Yes, those inventions were stolen, but now it's up to us to try to recapture that. Understand that we come from a very powerful lineage of creativity and innovation. You're not slouches. I know white people tell you that your IQ was low and all this other BS. They try to feed you to make you feel intellectually inferior. But you are from a powerful lineage of creation and innovation in which the likes this world has never seen. We still have incredible innovation in us. But we have to get a grip, get a hold of ourselves, understand the pedigree in which we come from, and start carrying the mantle of the great inventors that are in our lineage and our heritage. We're capable of all of this technology. As a matter of fact, I would go on a limb to say probably all this technology that you see is ours. Maybe there's some foreign technologies that may be a little different, but probably all of the technologies that you see probably belongs to us. I mean, a helicopter was invented in Africa by an African man. And one thing I noticed about when white people steal something, they don't never change it. It stays the same because they never built it in the first place. They just keep following the same schematics and the same formula. Man, what the hell? Excuse me. Same formula. So we do come from a rich heritage of innovation and creation. Dan, come on in here. Take over for me for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, shucks, we get around to naming inventions all day. The video games, that consoles and stuff that everybody like. Black man invented the first ones. Let me see, what was the game system? Dang it, it'll come to me. Okay, hold on 1 second. Huh?
Hey, hold on. Yeah, you got a call, so you need to pick first. Yeah, as he's talking about a game, you see, that is what like we need to do. You understand?
Hmm.
Because when we
Yeah.
start playing, yeah, when we start playing game with
Well, yeah. But America wouldn't be as great as it was if it wasn't for the invention of black folks, the contribution. But as always, they don't want to acknowledge, because then they will have to pay reparations that they stole it,
mm,
and that they put laws in place where the people that it was stolen from could not sue to get what was theirs. And
mm,
because they put these laws in place, um, that's why it needs to be reparation.
exactly.
Hmm. Yeah, shooks. And even if you just look at one side, you'll see where it followed into other areas. So whether it's technology, medical technology, um, oh, so there's all kind of things. Agricultural breakthroughs and information. Um, all this came about because of black folks, and that's why America owe a huge debt, because they did it so badly. Um, they destroyed or hindered families. So who knows what could have been if we was allowed to either keep our inventions, claim our inventions, or sue those who have stolen or tried to steal, or laws or enforce the laws to protect a person's property and all this other stuff from being stolen. Do you know how much land right now would have to be returned to who knows how many families, because it was stolen, taken away, or they were driven away, and they tried to use the laws of, hey, they weren't paying any taxes on it, so the state took it back. But what you expect? They either killed the family, ran off the family, but they don't take that into account. But anyway, we're gonna have to close it out. Y'all have
Mm-hmm.
a good day. Thank y'all for coming. It was a nice and great conversation, and interesting conversation in the chat. But more of y'all need to come up. Don't be afraid. So next time I drop the link and there's stuff you wanted to say or questions you want to ask, well, just come on. Even if it's just long enough to say, hey, I wanted to ask you guys a question. I wanted to ask you a question and hear what it is. Or I wanted to say this part, and this too. Mm-hmm. All right, then. All right, y'all. So we'll see you next time. Peace, power, and unity. And let's
Peace.
leave out with a song. All right.
Yeah, son. There's mad kids out there getting cream for the 9 bro. Yeah, and I've been doing this for a long time. You know, shoot the game, going for mine.
All right.
And this is the year when mad caps get peeled. So I'ma spark this line, kick the reel.
Bang them out.
With all this chaos in the realms of the street, your local street dog got to make ends meet. The average Joe's far too slow for the ghetto pro. You better know, when I hit the streets, I like to glow, I like to glisten. And at the same time, stay low, listen, motherfuck the fame. I'm pursuing the dope. My stilo is symbolic to a kilo. Cash is popping, coke is cooking, beef is copping. Ain't that some shit? A player that's used to living rich is now a sticky kid, caught up in a ditch. In 94, Giuliani kicked down the door. In 95, niggas flipped to stay alive. Peeling caps while I laugh. In the stats, the 4.5. Remy in the glass, spark the boom, then I blast. They wanna confine me, sneak up from behind me. Bust a cap in my back and put me where they can't find me. They hate to see a young player pay. I don't wanna see that, son. They'd rather see him spray. But I'm like Diddy, a Terminator, squeeze the lead off. Using verbs and nouns like rounds to blow your head off. Hitting up spots, heating up blocks. Investing in stocks like Colombian blow crops. I'm out to get cream and ain't no doubt in my mind. Fuck this broke shit, I'm hit, I get down for mine. I get down for mine, get down for this. Get your hands in the air. I get down for mine, get down for this. On the regular, shit, turn no fear. I get down for mine, get down for this. I hear you wanna be a player. I ain't someplace you left. Let's play a game of real nigga roulette. Witness a DOA as I spray the melee. Contact and punctuation is compared to AKs. You in a daze, overdose for pure funk. I'm fucking off like Tommy Gibb. The karma's a booty smoke. Decapitated rappers in my trunk. I'm sick, pumping skunk, bouncing with my click, popping mega jump. I'm getting back while these clowns be zigzagging. What's this talk about flipping keys? Come on, you're nickel bagging. I'm blasting off wings and making doubters believe it. You see, I was packing heaters when jokers was banging cheerleaders. Ain't nothing changed, it's still the same in the rap game. I'm known for banging rookies out the frame. Y'all done forgot who was the pimp from the start. Sipping vintage wine, eating a la carte. I'm phenomenal from the abdominal. Far from comical lyrics and sticking the brains like barnacles. Never sweet. I'm bringing the drama to the streets with techniques and rolling in fleets. Ain't nothing sweet about the streets, so I'm poetically ill. I'm pure like cook up and lyrics shine like fish scale. I got the banger at your throat and you ain't showing no signs. K-Dep, let them know I get down for mine. I get down for mine.